Had to hit that start stream button. And oh, wow. Wowie, wowie. We are
Oh.
live on X. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Rumble.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to the future indeed. I do need to update my, looking at a channel list right there. There we go. Well, this is perfect. We've solved the biggest gripe that we had with...
Please clap.
There you go. Please clap for us.
With your hands.
That's right. None of that hood rat stuff that you see on X image search.
What's that racket?
Oh, man, I went to the Cincinnati Jazz Fest, and I got clapped by a black lady's butt. All right.
The only culture where you can get clapped by the women and the men.
That's right. That's right. One behind you in line and one in front of you. They'll both get you.
Let's get it on.
Get it on.
Oh, I forgot to hit record. Luckily, I caught that right away, huh? I'm going to need you to give me a second here.
Luckily.
And then we will get it on.
4. Voila.
Only 12 minutes late today, so not bad. We're kind of a thereabouts stream, 5:30 or thereabouts. That's kind of our MO. Let me make sure you're getting picked up by the recording.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
We got you. Boost you a little bit. Perfect. Good. What was that you were saying about something slitting knit Don? Or what did you say?
What? Let's get it on.
Get it on.
It must be quite apparent by this time to any thinking individual that the people of our country and people of other countries all over the world are coming to face a moment of grave decision. A time when we will choose the course of our future.
Oklahoma, Texas, New York, Philadelphia, around the world, it's gonna be a big nut bust.
The Millennial Media Offensive podcast is now live.
Right you are. You're listening to MMO number 180. Today is July 29th, 2025. And from the great city and state of St. Louis, Missouri, I'm Dan Gehring.
And from America's South Coast, where Dan's been clapped, I'm John G. Dew.
Getting clapped, and not by guns, but by women and BBLs.
Yes, many of those at the St. Louis Jazz Fest, I imagine.
Oh, very much. We call them BB smells around here with an average humidity of 70% in July.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It is disgusting, yet people still do it. We was at the airport. I was in the St. Louis airport, and I was behind a woman who clearly had a BBL, and the mind could not comprehend how big her butt was. It was enormous. And I was like, Elise, I was pointed to Elise, and even Elise was in awe. She's like, oh my God, that's the fakest butt I've ever seen. I go, yeah. So
Pardon me, madame. I would just like to comment on the size of your buttocks.
I mean, I would be pissed if, she was C-class boarding, last one to board
You
on
think
Southwest.
it's comfortable?
I'd not sit next to her on a plane. I'll tell you that. It's not comfortable.
Well, why don't you have a little empathy and see if you can determine if it'd be comfortable to have that size behind you. Sitting. I'm thinking about sitting for long stretches of time.
I mean, it really depends on the seat. If we're talking about a Tour de France, road bike, probably not. But if you're...
Well, I don't think they make one.
I don't know if you're just sitting on a rock outside somewhere, as women with BBLs are known to do. I imagine, there's a little bit of cushion there. What is it? Just fluid or fat or what is put in there?
I don't know what they're throwing in there. I know it's pretty dangerous. You can die.
People do die. A lot of people go to
Yeah,
Mexico and get it done, and if the surgery doesn't kill them, the
cheap
cartels
to
might.
die for.
That's right.
But sitting for a long period of time can be one of the most uncomfortable things, and not just because of restless legs or anything like that. Like if you actually, the worst thing is when you go swimming, and then you have you go to a river or a creek or something, and then you have a long car ride home, but you forgot your towel or you didn't dry off before you got in the car, and you
Sure.
just start to itch because you're wet and you're sitting in it. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but that is awful.
The wet itch. I have.
The wet itch. Yes. It's terrible. It's one of the worst things on the earth, I think.
Yeah.
But I
Black
wonder,
interiors in the
just
summer are up there as well.
well, I'm just thinking. Luckily, I was blessed with a naturally healthy derriere, and I don't experience really any discomfort from sitting for a long time. But I know people who are much more bony and complain about sitting for a long time. And I imagine it's just your hip bones kind of, digging into whatever seat you're in. I don't know how that works, but I imagine they don't have to deal with that. Or maybe they
Probably
do.
not. I'm
Maybe
not
it's,
sure.
we need someone to write in.
Write in if you have a BBL
And
and
you listen to this
listen to
show.
MMO. Uh, you're probably alone in that demographic, but please let us know if it's comfortable to sit.
You don't
And
think there are many BBLs in Australia?
I mean, we have a pretty large listener base in Australia and Bavaria. I don't know if the Germans are getting BBLs that much.
I don't think so. Doesn't really fit their aesthetic.
I think they're called Gesundentrunkens or something like that in German.
That's pretty good.
Not exactly sure. But how are you doing, John? John, after, now that our BBL talk is done, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I really nothing to speak of. Just working, getting ready for the podcast, and then working again. Doing some stuff around the house here and there. Pressure wash the house this weekend.
Oh, that's fun. That's
Always a good time once you get started.
Yeah, it's one of the activities I enjoy because you see the dirt running off if you have a lighter colored house.
Well, so we do it pretty often, so it's not as satisfying when you do it often, but it is still satisfying. It's one of those things that it's kind of like a long road trip where you kind of dread getting started, but once you get started, it's very enjoyable. Very much like that. Now, one of the more frustrating things is if you're pressure washing and you have some kind of piece of trash or something get in the pump, and you have to take the pump apart and clean it. A little frustrating, but or the nozzle gets jammed with something. Um, but overall, pretty good experience. The house looks better. The concrete front porch and side carport looks a lot better. So yeah, overall good, productive few days. How are you?
I'm doing well. My very pregnant wife and I and my in-laws, they came over and we painted a basement room. We've been kind of putting that off, but we got a couple of coats on it. It's looking good. It's going to be our new guest bedroom, as one of our guest bedrooms is turning into a nursery, as you can imagine.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I just got to do
Yes,
some
I saw
trim work.
your Gary Plauchi impersonation during this painting project,
Yeah, that was
or at
last
least
week.
prepping for the painting
That's right.
project.
That was last week. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't like it, but everyone else did.
Well, it just needed work. It was good. It was better than most could do. But I have to ask you, how long did you look at the photo before you did that?
I did that from memory.
Oh, that's very good then. It's really
See?
good.
And you guys were giving me shit about the head tilt and whatnot. And I was
Well,
like,
you gave it like a Hollywood bad dude. I'm Gary Plauchi and I'm gonna get you kind of vibe. Where if you look at the picture of him that's most famous, he's just kind of a guy. He doesn't look like a badass that's about to avenge his son's innocence.
Yeah. And that's
And
probably
also,
the
you
best
need
guy.
cooler sunglasses.
My sunglasses are cool as shit.
Not as cool as Gary's.
He's got the classic 80s aviator. He also has that high trucker hat that sits on top of his head.
Yeah, both of those are hard to find.
Right. Right.
Well, I say that. I haven't really looked for them.
I feel like people that only listen to the first 5 minutes of the show have no idea what the podcast is about.
Hey,
Yeah.
I want to reel them in,
Fake butts
Is your thing
and
BBLs and trucker hats?
child molester assassinations.
Hey, that's all
else?
pretty cool in my book.
I agree with that. We are very fond of Killdozer, Gary Plauchi, Randy Weaver, of course, the patron saint of the MMO show. Many more heroes that
Yes.
the government.
You always say the concept is a conversation at a bar amongst friends, where the audience is the fortunate, sometimes unfortunate patrons that have to hear the loud talking going on at the bar. And these are the kind of conversations that I like to have at the bar. And then, inevitably we'll start talking about things that are happening and going on. But, BBLs and giving child molesters what they're due. That's all pretty good bar conversation to me.
I agree with that. Indeed. There are a couple of things I say at bars that I would be mortified if they were recorded and played back. That's with the really close friends,
That's why it's like a conversation at the bar.
It's not exactly that,
Not exactly.
All right. Well, I guess a lot of weird stuff happened this week. Not anything.
What do you think was weird?
I mean, it was kind of like a chill news week, but there was a quick little 5-day war that happened in between our last show and this show.
I've already forgotten about that.
Yeah, exactly, because a truce has been reached. And so I'll play the clip about the ceasefire, and then I'll kind of go into a broad context about what happened between Thailand and Cambodia. Two countries that, if you didn't know they were there, you would think that they're probably the same country. You weren't looking at a map close enough, so that's your warning right there.
Tuesday is News Day.
Correct, and also...
Let me ask you to look again at a map.
There you go.
And we are following breaking news out of Southeast Asia, where Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire along their border after days of deadly military clashes. Malaysia's Prime Minister, who hosted peace talks between the two sides earlier this morning, said the ceasefire will come into effect from midnight local time. Officials from the U.S. and China also took part in today's
talks and discussions. So this is interesting on the face that I think a lot of people look at the situation in Thailand and Cambodia, look at the geographical location, understand the history of it. Kamala Harris going over to the region, I believe she was in the Philippines, and talking about launching satellites over the Philippines to keep an eye on fish and nothing else. Definitely not to look at what China's doing in the area at all. It's all about fish.
Right.
So I think a lot of people are looking at that in this context and saying, is this another shadow war that is emerging on the metaphorical risk board that is the map? And I think
Yes, because and the foundation for that is that Thailand has been getting closer and closer to China recently. There's been some news that we've kind of overlooked because it's not, we're not going through just reading headlines. So we do overlook a lot of smaller things. But as soon as this broke out, my mind went to the headlines and the stories I had seen in the past year or so about Thailand cooperating and technology sharing and undergoing other cooperations with China.
And, 11 years ago, I would say, if this had broken out 11 years ago, I would say, yes, I think this could be kind of a shadow war or another extension of the Cold War between the East and the West. But Thailand had a coup in 2014, a military coup that kind of hurt the U.S. and Thailand relations. prior to that, the U.S. and Thailand had been really close since about the 1820s. They had been diplomatic and strategic partners, I guess, for whatever the 1820s provided. They shipped probably opium over, and we shipped them freedom, I imagine. But yeah, the military coup happened in 2014, and ever since then, Thailand has been getting closer to China. Cambodia, on the other hand, is very much, it's almost like a puppet state of China in modern days. They do joint military exercises with China and whatnot. So I really don't think this is a shadow war as much as it would make sense in our grand strategy.
Let me push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
Because while it may not be, while Cambodia may not be the metaphorical hammer that the U.S. would use to beat its way into Thailand, there could be things happening in Thailand that would be forwarded, an agenda that would be forwarded by a war with Cambodia. And I don't know if a clearer way to say that. But there could be things happening behind the scenes in Thailand that, let's say, the power struggle in Thailand is between the business elite, which they have family ties and extranational family ties, and the military in Thailand. Well, if you're going to use the military to stage a coup in Thailand, which has happened before, wouldn't you want the military to be busy? Or
fair.
If you're going to or if you're going to put more of or if you're going to solidify the control that these business elite families have in Thailand, wouldn't you want the military to be busy fighting Cambodia so that they can't storm the palace and depose the leadership of Thailand like they have in the past?
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened in 2014. And one of the reasons there was a military coup is the leadership was actually talking directly to Cambodia leadership. I think they had a close kind of relationship. The elite family that was ruling Thailand and the family that was ruling Cambodia. And that's one of the reasons why the 2014 military coup happened. So there could be something there where we're trying to reinstate now this family that is Western friendly into the leadership roles of Thailand. But on the basis of it, it really just looks like this line that the French drew many years ago, and these temples that these two countries both have historical relevance, because there's really not a whole lot of cultural differences between Thailand and Cambodia, specifically where they drew that line. It was kind of just a random line that was drawn. And they've just been fighting back and forth about territory for years and years. Not hot, but, kind of like North Korea, South Korea. We're mad at you and saber rattling. But I don't know. It doesn't have the same markings that the other things that we've pointed out to be kind of a cold war between the East and the West would have.
While I agree it doesn't look like the playbook, to turn a phrase that we hear all the time, it doesn't look like the playbook. I think that could have something to do with the part of the world that it's in, with it being a Southeast Asian situation. I don't know. It feels like we're involved to me. And I know that's not exactly the analysis that people have come to expect from media offensive, but that's where I'm coming at it from. And I do want to read some things that we got from a listener, longtime listener of the show, a little bit of boots on the ground. Well, not boots on the ground, but he did some research into this just to provide some context. And I think it would be good to record here. The basic dynamic I'm reading now. The basic dynamic of Thai politics is a conflict between business leaders who succeed at electoral politics and the Thai military. The business class runs parliament and benefit from extreme corruption until the military steps in and kicks them out. The military will run the country for a while until the restrictive nature of that type of government leads to protests and popular unrest. Protests and riots get worse until the coup leaders step down and new elections are held. There's no real schedule to this cycle, but it generally happens every 10 to 15 years. The business leaders are Sino-Thai, mostly from Fujian province, right next to Canton and Guangdong. During the Chinese Civil War and World War II, most of the successful business families from these provinces abandoned China and migrated to Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and Indonesia. This led to a lot of ethnic tension in these countries between wealthy immigrants and poorer natives. It also created an international network of businesses and families. The recording of the former Thai Prime Minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, yes, perfect, referring to an elder statesman in Cambodia as uncle, is an example of these extra-national family bonds. I don't think they were actually related. I think they just have such close ties.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect.
Yes.
That's very, very common in Southeast Asia. I am oftentimes referred to as uncle by small Vietnamese children who I don't even know. So,
I'm not familiar with the current military leaders, but there are traditionally ethnic Thai from poor families. Like many countries, the Thai military is an excellent place for young men with little means to build a career and rise in social status. It's also a meritocracy, so the smarter and more ambitious usually end up in leadership positions. If you time it right and can run the occasional coup, you might even end up running the country for a few years. Now, what I struggle with in figuring out what exactly is happening here is figuring out who the U.S. would support. Because if Cambodia is a client state of China and the premier political business family has close ties with them, in theory, in this black and white scenario, you would support the military to oust them. But it's not, to your point, it's not really our MO to use the military to oust political leadership. Not recently, anyway.
no, we do the
But
grassroots.
I think that's much more of a European strategy, where if you oust these people in Thailand, you sort of reset the clock on cooperation with China. And if you are expecting a conflict in 2027, the military can hold on to power for that long and deprive China of the Southeast Asian platform that Thailand currently is for them. So I think you've seen I think Cambodia started the war with Thailand because China probably had intelligence that we were working to use this phone call to oust the economic political leadership of Thailand.
Back
So
in
Cambodia
2014,
attacked, but it was just released.
the phone call was released, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But she was the prime minister, and the phone call was just released. What, 2 weeks ago?
Oh, my understanding of it was the phone call I didn't know it was released 2 weeks ago. It occurred in 2014, but it was released 2 weeks ago, where she basically claims that the military's not doing what she wants, and she's calling
Yes.
the prime minister of Thailand, and she's calling Cambodia leadership, and she calls him uncle, refers to him as uncle, right? That's kind of what I was getting at earlier. Believe. Just making sure the timeline. What you're saying is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think that's the crux here is when the phone call was released. So I
see.
think China sees our meddling and decides the only way to keep the military from ousting its people is to attack Thailand and with Cambodia. And occupy the military, more or less. Now that Trump has, well, the reporting anyway, is that Trump told Cambodia and Thailand, we're not negotiating on your tariffs until you've reached a peace deal. And they both quickly said, okay.
For a little bit, it looked like it wasn't going to hold because then there was accusation of both sides breaching the ceasefire, both sides pointing at one another. And then now it looks like it's pretty well solid. Like the military has now pulled back on both sides, and it might actually stay strong.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction. So get your book out. I think the Thai military. I think they do it. I think they at least attempt to oust the current leadership from power.
Again?
Well, they're not. The military's not in power currently.
I know, but that's what happened in 2014. There was a military
Yeah,
coup.
I think again.
All right, Thai military ousts leadership
Again.
again.
You get my Dan Carlin.
You got to put a date in. What are you talking to?
Oh, well. I'm going to say within a year.
By 2027. That is a John G. Dew prediction. I'm going to give you 18 months.
There we go. Okay. Thanks. Again.
We've added it to the list. I was looking at some of our predictions on the list. They are not good.
You don't have to bring them up.
I won't bring them up. I was like, oh yeah,
it's all fun.
That didn't happen. It is what it is. All right, well that's interesting. Yeah, I'm glad you also looked into the scenario. I didn't get that email, the one that you were reading.
It's not an email. It's a back channel, direct comms.
Oh, nice. I didn't get that either. So, I'm not heard about it.
Well, he might send it to you after I only read a portion of it because you are well known for reading every word that someone sends.
I've tried. There have been some. Who is it? Who's the? I forget. It's Colin Schultz notes that are books. You know, but he reads the Bible, so he.
What do you expect?
Yeah, he looks at a lot of text all the time. So.
And here's the book of Esther.
Right.
For $100 donation.
Yeah, we love you, Colin Schultz, and if you send us $100, we'll read whatever you want us to. Quite honestly. Okay. So that's Thailand and Cambodia. Anything else on that?
No, I mean, I don't know why I didn't say who it was that sent me that, but it was Vito.
Oh,
friend
nice.
of the show.
Cousin Vito.
Hey. Yes, he did some digging.
That's good. We got a request to do some analysis on the Thailand and Cambodia issue. So right now, Thailand is close to China, and this could be a play to unwedge them. Cambodia's gone. It's kind of like a puppet state. I don't know about Laos.
Are we still, for the longest time, the Cambodia was a huge missionary target. You recall this? Have you ever heard this?
I know about like the Khmer Rouge and that period of time. I don't know about Cambodia and missionary work.
Yeah, a lot of missionaries, at least when I was growing up, went to Cambodia. If you had anyone send your church flyers or come and speak to your church about missionaries and supporting foreign missionaries, it was a very good chance they were going to mention Cambodia. Now, that could have just been something. It was the 90s. But I wonder if there's still a major missionary focusing in Cambodia.
Well, If they were, they didn't do very well because they're fighting over some temples right now. So not Christian ones, but yeah, there might be a missionary
Hey,
outreach in
they're
Cambodia.
old temples.
That's true.
Culture.
Right along the border. Well, that's interesting.
What's funny is if you look at if you really get into it, the international groups that help, you know, flesh out some of these border disputes that were left over by in this case French colonialism. Um, you have things like the temple itself belonging to Thailand, but the area surrounding the temple belonging to Cambodia, which to me is you have to wonder who thought that was going to work.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think the French really took their time when they were drawing this lineup.
But they took a little more time than the British did because the British just pretty much drew straight lines across maps and said, "There you go. This is yours and that's yours. Get along."
Yeah. Pakistan isn't, Pakistan, India, the most famous one that comes to mind. It's fairly straight, I guess. I think there was some rejiggering that occurred over the years.
Oh yes, there's been quite a bit of rejiggering, Pakistan and India.
Back and forth. They settled on Lahore. Like this is the town where our border shall be, and then we shall call it Lahore. Perfect. Let's see. Do you have any more Asian related stuff? Asia related?
No, I don't. A lot of my international material is Russia centric.
Same here. I had a couple of clips. We should.
Have we shifted to Russia? Have we shifted back to Russia? Is that, are we just, do we just miss talking about Russia because we've been talking about Russia since we started this show, or is there actually a shift back to Russia happening?
There's a lot of stuff that's going on. He's not going to stop at Ukraine. People are picking up again. I got some stuff on that. I had clips last week about Ukraine and a couple of interesting kind of tidbits that are coming out of Ukraine. So, I mean, if we're done with Southeast Asia, I think we should pivot hard into Russia.
Yeah, sure thing.
All right. Well, I want to start with a clip that I was supposed to bring last week and I didn't, and I was really hoping that no one would pick up on this, no one else in the podcast sphere, and seemingly no one has, and I don't know why, but it's pretty interesting. I'll start off by a new strategy that Russia is deploying, and we oftentimes talk about the cost inefficiency of shooting down 20,000 Shahed drones from Russia with $250 million Patriot missiles and the system. So it's really not a good balance of warfare or at least efficient warfare fighting efficiency. Well, Russia's figured out a way to even exploit that further. And this is a clip from the DW that kind of delves into that and how they're getting Ukraine to chew up a bunch of Patriot missile systems and still landing effective blows on Ukraine.
Now let's bring in Marina Miron. She's a military analyst at the Defense Studies Department at King's College London. Marina, Russia keeps targeting Ukrainian cities with large-scale drone attacks. Why are we seeing this now?
Good afternoon, Phil. Well, there are a couple of reasons for that, and one of the reasons being the fact that Russia has not only ramped up its production of drones, it has also ramped up the production of decoy drones, which it sends out at the same time to saturate Ukrainian air defenses. And also there are adaptations when it comes to technology of the drones being used. So we're talking about Geran 2, which is the Shahed 136 type drone, which has seen several modifications since the beginning of the war, or since the beginning of
It's
the
the
time when
lawnmower.
Russia started
Yep.
using them, August 2022. And so, firstly, the altitude of these drones differs, meaning that the Ukrainian side has difficulties intercepting them, whereas the Ukrainian side has used different means to intercept drones, such as also using machine guns. With a higher altitude, it's not possible anymore. They're not reachable. Also, scarce air defenses and expensive interceptor missiles would be a waste, especially if the Russian side uses a lot of decoys, which appear on the radar as an incoming threat. So you have that problem coupled with the fact that massive amounts of drones are being used, which are flying from different directions at different altitudes. And so these factors in conjunction lead to the fact that we're seeing more missiles and drones coming through Ukrainian air defenses.
That's right. So the bottle rockets that the Russians are sending, they're also now sending cheaper bottle rockets with no payload. So they're just decoys, and those are getting shot down with Patriot missile systems. You heard her talk about they resorted to machine gun fire to try to shoot them down as well, but they can't because of the higher altitude. So Russians are sending the decoys, which I thought was interesting, which is a new concept that I don't know if they've been doing it or if we're now just hearing about it. But that really kind of tips the scale in Russia's favor as far as wartime economics goes. If they're just sending pretty much standard commercial drones over and we're shooting them down with highly expensive and scarce Patriot missiles, and then they're sending the high payload drones once they're depleted. So, I mean, that's kind of what Iran should have done with Israel. You know, that's the kind of strategy that I think we're going to start to see. Is you can't have a golden dome or an iron dome because it's going to get depleted by shooting down BS before the real stuff comes.
I think that might have been a part of Iran's strategy that just went unreported because of how short of an incident that was. Because I saw alerts coming across Telegram of air raid sirens, then reports of probing missiles or drones from Iran, mostly missiles at that distance. And then after that, you would see the report and see the actual videos of the serious munitions hitting places in Israel. Which, by the way, we never got a full damage report on what was hit in Israel and what wasn't hit. That all went away very fast.
Shocking bad news out of Israel is underreported.
Yes. Okay, so all right. So my takeaway here is that Russia's strategy to drain Western munitions is continuing.
It's continuing, it's picking up speed, and there's really nothing that Ukraine or the West can do about it because they can't take the risk of not shooting down the first wave. And it almost becomes like a pitcher and a batter, you know? Is the pitcher going to throw balls and try to get as many strikes as possible early, or is he going to throw actual hittable balls right down the middle? Swings and misses, and that's what's going on here. Is Slavic baseball, if you will. The second interesting clip, and this is the one that.
Well, hold on a second. I don't know if I'll get another chance to insert this, so I want to take my opportunity. I'm seeing more and more, and this is something that we talked about. Would you say we talked about the possibility of a multi-frontal war months ago? We started talking about that, where if you're going to make war on the U.S., it's going to have to be on multiple fronts to extend us as thinly as possible. We've been talking about that for months, right?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, I brought the Stoltenberg I think it was the NATO Secretary General warning about this very thing, saying if China attacks Taiwan, they're more than likely
Yep.
going to ask Russia to attack Europe to open a multi-front war. I've been this week specifically have seen at least 4 instances of people discussing the possibility. Everyone from nobody talking heads on YouTube to a seminar, a military seminar given by active duty military covered by the BBC, talking about the preparing for the possibility of a multi-frontal war.
We're just that good. We're ahead of the game all the time.
I just want to make sure that, I'm not exactly trying to say, hey, look at us, look what is so easy to call out when you are paying attention. I think it's very important to keep that in mind in the context of all of these things that are happening. Basically, in every story we've talked about since BBLs and Gary Plauche.
Yeah, and that's why all of these global kind of conflicts are so interesting. It's Southeast Asia, Africa, the Middle East, because it just takes one or two more conflicts to really tie us up before, and the idea is we would be tied up in these conflicts and trying to be able to take Taiwan in an instant, that kind of thing overnight, and we wouldn't even be able to pivot or do anything about it right away. And so that's kind of the whole idea, is that there are these multi fronts going on, and the U.S. and the West gets bogged down in other less consequential conflicts. So we take our eye off the ball a little bit. But yeah, no, you're correct. You're correct.
Now, I don't have a clip about this, and I would assume that you don't either, just because I only saw it for a second, and I made a note to clip it, and I ended up clipping other things with my time. But we talked a little while back about the Christians that were killed in Africa and how there was some reporting about that. First Post was reporting about more Christians killed in the DR Congo this week. So another potential point of agitation.
Absolutely.
And that's going to be, the end for Africa. If we get involved in Africa, it'll be over some broad persecution of an ethnic or religious group, because there's, maybe Donald Trump goes into an African country and says, yeah, we're going after the lithium. But I don't think he does that. I think that's just too random to justify.
Right. You just got crispy towards the end of that. And John will be right back.
How's that?
Much better. I think that's a good point. I really do. I think Africa would be a horrible place to get bogged down in. But there's a lot of, we talk about the Wagner Group, especially in the Sahel region, terrorism in Niger, Mali, leaking into Nigeria, and Ghana, out of Burkina Faso. So there's
well,
a lot
and
of
also
possibility.
you something that a lot of people don't talk about, even we don't talk about. Trump has been bombing the crap out of Somalia. So we're not necessarily bogged down in Somalia, but AFRICOM has been really laying down the fire on ISIS in Somalia. Just another little data point of how we're willing, we're just not going to talk about it much if we do.
Is it Al-Shabaab in Somalia?
No, it's ISIS.
Where is
Al-Shabaab is more Sahel.
I could have sworn that was Somalia as well. Oh, Al-Shabaab and ISIS are the flag of the Al-Shabaab is the same flag as ISIS.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You're right. The Islamic Emirate of Somalia. Oh.
There you go. I just typed in Al-Shabaab and I was hit with the ISIS flag in the imagery. So, well, very well. Maybe it's probably both, one and the same. Yeah, I saw a headline about them this week. I can't remember what it was about, but I remember our kind of prediction that they might be going for Mogadishu before shit started to pop off, more so in Yemen and that the Strait.
Okay, well let's refocus.
Sure, back in Ukraine. Now, I thought this was interesting, and I haven't heard anyone talking about this, and so I luckily am able to save this a week and play it now. This has to talk about Ukraine incentivizing its soldiers, and I want to get your take on it. I'll play it here. This comes from, I believe, the DW as well.
Now, Jan Philip, Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine has turned increasingly into a drone war. The Ukrainian army also, though, has been using drones, and they've a scheme for every successful drone strike. Can you explain exactly what that is?
Yeah, it's a system in which soldiers can earn so-called E-points for killing an enemy or destroying infrastructure. And with these E-points, soldiers can go to a digital market and buy more equipment. It's a system that is quite controversial also here in Ukraine. Some people say it's a very interesting innovation and it helps soldiers to be motivated. On the other side, there are also a lot of critics that say that it is basically a gamification of the war and it contributes to a dehumanization of the enemy. Of course, it's easy to have these moral debates from a safe distance, but what is for sure is that this kind of trivialization of killings leaves some people quite uneasy.
They literally,
now just let them buy loot boxes from the U.S. military, and you've got a hit.
Well, I mean, that's right. We've supplied Ukraine. Europe supplied Ukraine with all this stuff. And the Ukraine, who have, Zelensky's in some hot water over a corruption issue, which we can talk about later. But they've turned
I saw that.
They've turned it into a Call of Duty. Exactly. You kill an enemy, you get some bucks, and you can buy a helmet. It's PUBG.
Yeah, you can. You get the latest Nicki Minaj skin, so you can wear it while you're flying your drone.
What's that smell? It's Nikki's BBL from the sky. Hey, callback.
Yeah, this is microtransactions. It's the exact kind of thing that gaming studios, AAA gaming studios, have made a killing on, but have alienated gamers with. They're just implementing it in these drone pilot operations.
And it's not just, they emphasize drone, but it's also boots on the ground troops. The drone fighting is the majority of the warfare now, but, you earn E-points and you can buy gear. I don't know what that looks like. I would love to get some screenshots of the E-point store, see how many E-points you get for a drone. That level of information would be great. So if there's a Ukrainian that's listening, I would love to hear that. Although I'm pretty sure we're not well liked in Ukraine. But, I think it is kind of odd to me that, and I think it speaks to the corruption of Ukraine, where we're supplying them with this gear, and now they've decided the best way to dole it out is to not the 18-year-olds that they scoop up from their mom's house that don't want to go and then just get killed right away. But they're like, all right, how do we reward our best soldiers? All right, we'll give them we'll increase their chances of survival by giving them the stuff that they should have standard issue, probably.
I've got the website.
You've got the website?
I've got the website.
Drop it in the chat. I'll pull it up on the stream.
Okay.
In the chat. W's in the chat for John, everybody. Just kidding. I hate those kids.
Oh, did I lose the chat? No, I didn't lose the chat. Here it is. There's a lot going on over here. Oh, give me that link. Give me that.
This is John G. Doo using a computer, everybody.
There you go. market.brave1.gov.ua.
That was fast. I don't understand a lick of this site.
Can you translate it?
I might have that option. Usually I have an extension that'll pop up and say, translate? Wow.
Direct Action Marketplace, Ukrainian drones, NRK, electric warfare, components, and other means for the military.
Man, I wish this page would be translated. Let me try this.
Are you in Brave or Chrome?
I'm in Brave.
Well, I'm in Chrome, and it works for me.
Huh. What do you know? So Brave won
Top 10
Marketplace.
units in June by the number of combat points scored.
I don't even know what these things are. Ukrainian's kind of a busted language. Yeah, look, there's literally a picture of a soldier's helmet rotating around. It is like Call of Duty. Are you seeing this graphic? It is
No.
a soldier's head. It's rotating. He's got the shooter glasses on, the orange tint, the helmet. Wow. It really is Call of Duty. I wonder if it gets dropped off to you by a drone. That would be clutch. You stay there on the front line, Vlad. We'll drop this to you. We'll fly the drone to you.
How does Brave One Market work? Manufacturers and representatives of military units have personal accounts on the marketplace, which provide the opportunity to supply and purchase goods through decentralized procurement procedures. Man, what a racket. Can you imagine if we had thought this up? We'd be making some money right now. I mean, this is the equivalent of the company store for the Appalachia coal miner in American history. You don't get paid. Don't worry that the Ukrainian government can't pay you. Here's some E-points.
Yeah, instead of branded fleeces, it's branded grenades. There's this remote-controlled, what looks to be a tank with a machine gun mounted on it, little RC car. Double antenna action, so it gets great reception. Wow.
You know what? If Trump really wants to support Ukraine in this fight with Russia, he needs to allow U.S. citizens to buy E-points and use this marketplace.
That'd be great. We should open this up to Africa.
They've already got all this.
Yeah, you upgrade your stick to a machete. You get a bigger stick now.
I mean, who else is going to show you that? Are you still browsing this website?
Yeah, top 10 units by June. I'm seeing this now, the translated version of it.
Yeah. I mean, who else is gonna show you this? Who else is gonna find this?
That's what I'm saying.
And show you what's going on.
A rugged reconnaissance and bomber. I'm upset that I didn't think about. I assumed that you wouldn't be able to see this on the internet. I didn't even look. Wow.
Well, I got it. Don't worry.
What are battle points? Balls? You see that?
No.
It's in the information section. What are battle points? And then in parentheses it says balls? ? I wonder if that is a translation to The point system are called like balls, and in Ukraine, it is literally like, cojones, having cojones. You earn your cojones by killing Russians, and then you get, your stuff, the stuff you want. Wonder if you're like, oh man, I'm 5 points away from something, and you're like, I got to go out and kill a Russian now. That's pretty great. I don't know. I might have just had a 180 on this idea. I love it now. I love it. What are balls?
This is incredible.
Yeah. Did you know
if
about
you're not
this?
watching this, by the way, again, if you're not watching this, whenever you get to where you can, go to market.braveone.gov.ua and just take a look around.
How can a unit join the E-Points program? What is the Delta system? My God, I wonder if there's a E-Points swap where you can swap your E-Points. I wonder what happens to a soldier's E-Points if they get killed. Does that get transferred to their unit?
Well,
does
yeah,
their unit...
I don't think it's individual soldiers that get E-Points. I think it's units if you look at the leaderboard.
I did see the leaderboard up here. What is the leaderboard? Best of the best.
Some of these drones are gnarly.
The Magyar, Birds of the Magyar.
Yeah.
414th Infantry Brigade. They're kicking ass. 3rd Special Forces Regiment. You're up there. You're on the list at least. There's the Azov. The Azov, the so-called the Nazis that don't exist in Ukraine are on the list. So I don't know.
Quote unquote Azov.
Yeah, that's right.
They need to get their numbers up if they really want to be Nazis, good Nazis.
That's right. They're losing to Birds and Nemesis and NGU and the Osher.
I wonder what Nemesis is. They've got a really unique emblem.
That's got to be a hacker group.
Well, maybe. I've got an article here from Pravda. Fighting in the Matrix, reporting from a command post of the 412th Nemesis UAV Regiment. Yeah, it's drones.
The Matrix? Oh, well, what do you know? Yeah, I was so happy that I was actually very upset last week that this did not make it on the show. We had good conversations last week, but I was like, this is gold. This E-Point system is gold. At least talk about it. So there you go. We should give our.
I mean, it's made. I want to know what involvement EA has with this, because EA has made a killing on these kind of games, these video games.
Surly Mofo is wondering if the Bongino code works on the website.
on the Brave One market.
Promo code Bongino. Oh, you got yourself a free Patriot. Don't shoot down any decoys. Those are only worth 5 E-Points. Wow. Yeah, we should give people that donate E-Points. We'll just randomly assign them, and those E-Points can be used for something that we'll think of in the future.
Radios,
yes. If you earn 100,000 E-Points, you get a radio. Surly Mofo,
and,
for that comment.
One E-Point is $1.
No. It is 1/100,000th of an actual dollar. Surly Mofo, you get 1 E-Point for that comment. You can redeem that for cash.
You got to keep up with them yourself.
That's right. Keep track yourself. So far, Surly Mofo is winning the E-Points contest. All right.
Okay. What else do you have on Ukraine?
So in Ukraine itself, Zelensky is in some hot water. There was recently this anti-corruption thing that was set to pass. And it was supposed to be non-government. It was supposed to be a third-party outside anti-corruption force and the Ukraine passed a law that basically said, no, it's going to be under the government's control. So the government, which is being surveyed for corruption, is going to have control over any sort of information that the Anti-Corruption League would control. And as a result, people have been protesting and calling, Ukrainian people calling for Zelensky's exit. And so this came from an outfit called Mir Now, and it's kind of like an Indian AI outfit. So there's going to be a nice British guy that doesn't exist, but he's going to read the story. And you almost have to wonder what kind of influences are going into this, but I'll play it anyway. And it talks a little bit about why the protests are going on in Ukraine right now.
Ukraine is witnessing mass protests that show no signs of slowing down, raising fears of political upheaval against President Volodymyr Zelensky. At the center of the storm is a controversial law signed on July 22nd, stripping independence from Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies. Critics say the move dismantles vital safeguards and threatens the country's EU aspirations. The backlash was swift, forcing Zelensky to admit that there should have been dialogue before the law's passage, a rare acknowledgement. But for many Ukrainians, it was too little. Now, reports by Strana.ua, a Ukrainian news outlet, suggest a coordinated three-phase plan is in motion to sideline the president. The alleged blueprint begins with demands to reverse the NEBU law. Phase 2 targets Zelensky's inner circle, pushing for the resignation of his powerful chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, and Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko. And the final step, forcing Zelensky himself out, or reducing him to a powerless figurehead. Unlike the 2014 Maidan protests, this movement is being driven by domestic forces, not Western sponsors, among them allies of...
Now I want to stop there. That is where my ears went up, and I said, all right, that's why I dove into where this Mir Now is coming from, because it points to the 2014, and it, I know it's an open secret at this point, like the vast majority of people say it, but the mainstream media in America does not acknowledge that 2014 was U.S. involvement. So I'll back it up, because that really spiked my ears, and I saw it's related to Times Now, and Times Now is, I don't know if it's actually Indian, but I did see a lot of Singhs and Indian-looking names on the About Us page, so I kind of put two and two together there. But I was like, wow, that doesn't sound like Western-based media.
2014 Maidan protests, this movement is being driven by domestic forces, not Western sponsors, among them allies of former President Petro Poroshenko, influential oligarchs, and groups opposing military mobilization. Analysts warn the stakes are enormous. Political chaos could shatter military morale and trigger catastrophic collapse on the front lines, forcing Ukraine to accept peace on Russia's terms. Zelensky has tried damage control, submitting a new bill to restore NEBU's independence. But protests continue, with banners in Kiev asking, "How much is your signature worth, Mr. President?" From Kiev to Lviv, the message is clear. Trust in Zelensky is crumbling. As calls grow louder for change, Ukraine faces a stark question. Will Zelensky survive, or is the country on the brink of a coup?
So, I mean,
I think we should use that breaking news music bed over our entire show.
Yeah, because it doesn't induce anxiety at all. I was over-caffeinated this morning when I was listening to it. I'm like, grinding my teeth listening to that little underbed. I think, I mean, the way that this is presented and the information, it sounds like you would be switching over to kind of European-based media in looking for these calls of Russian influence and interference, and that's what's spinning up these protests. But so far, none of that exists. It's all been, kind of. I mean, the protest coverage period in Western media doesn't exist. No one's talking about the protests. They talked about a little bit of people being upset after this corruption bill didn't go through or did go through, but under government control. But no one is talking about the protests that have risen up, and that is kind of suspicious. But I'm equally as suspicious as this Mir Now, which definitely seems like very pointed in a direction of anti-Zelensky. So, I don't know.
Well, you know that the war fatigue has to be setting in
for the people,
and that it's not good for Donald Trump. It's not good for the Cheney family and the Victoria Newlands and the Ann Applebaums of the world, who just want Russian blood to flow across the continent. They need Ukraine to hold out, so they can't have reports of unrest in Ukraine, because that means Putin's winning.
Well, that's why I would expect the media to blanket that these protests are all, pro-Russian stooges, like you see in Georgia, like you see in Moldova and Transnistria. That's what these Ukrainian people are. But it also shoots in this face this view of the united front that is Ukraine. Everyone's behind Zelensky. Everyone's for the war. Everyone wants to keep going. It's almost like
right.
Any
the Ukrainian
sort of
people are the most brave people on the face of the earth.
Right.
That whole narrative.
Lindsey Graham talking points, if you will.
Yes. So that's a tough one, to report or not to report. I think you ignore it because not many people are going to find it. I mean, what? The people that listen to the Millennial Media Offensive, well, big whoop. We don't have to worry about them. But yeah, you ignore this, and you tell Zelensky, you do whatever you have to. You just consolidated all of the authority that your country has to root out corruption. Now root out corruption. We've got to win this war.
In 10 or 12 days. That's in reference. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. I did see it. Yeah. Good. I've actually got a clip with the latest on Russia and the deadline from CNN. This is in the Russia folder, and it's called Latest, Brof.
Latest, Brof.
Ukraine is now assessing the damage after yet another very brutal Russian attack. Overnight, Russia struck several civilian areas, including a prison in Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say at least 17 of the inmates were killed and called the attack, and I'm quoting now, another war crime by the Russians. Elsewhere, a maternity hospital in Ukraine was damaged and a pregnant woman was killed. This latest barrage of Russian attacks follows President Trump shortening his deadline for some sort of peace deal, now giving Vladimir Putin 10 to 12 days to end the war. Earlier this month, President Trump gave Putin 50 days to end the war. Moscow had a terse response to the new U.S. deadline. A spokesman saying this, quote, "We have taken note of President Trump's statement yesterday. The special military operation continues as before," close quote. Russia calls its attack on Ukraine a special military operation. CNN's former Moscow bureau chief Jill Doherty is joining us right now. She's also the author of the brand new, very important book entitled My Russia, What I Saw Inside the Kremlin.
What I saw inside the Kremlin. I'm sure she's loves Russia and not going to, espouse propaganda on Western media.
Yes. Her Russia is not Vladimir Putin's Russia, needless to say. And let's hear her, and this is the expert on deadline clip.
Jill, the clock is clearly ticking for Putin right now. What's your read on Russia's actions over the last 24 hours in the face of the latest threat from Trump?
You know, Wolf, I don't think that they know exactly what is going to happen. Up to the last minute, it appears that they think things could change. You know, this is, in fact, they've made mention of this. The foreign minister has said, you know, it was 100 days, it was 50 days, it was et cetera. So they're not buying into exact time frames. But I think they're kind of, you could almost say, covering all bases. So you have President Putin not saying much of anything about this. Then you have the senior officials continuing to make, I would say, positive noises about President Trump, but below that, you have the other group, which is now involved in this, and it's online, fighting back and forth, criticizing the United States, and essentially saying, butt out, don't tell us what to do. So I think, you know, the interesting part of this, maybe that we could look at, is you've got two leaders who depict themselves as very strong men, right? And especially Putin and Trump. So they each want to show that they are not weak. And so that is another aspect of this negotiating, trying to get to some type of a ceasefire. They can't look weak, so they continue to kind of play this I'm telling you what to do from the American side, and the Russians saying, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, so everybody's a tough guy, and, you know, people close to Trump are making positive noises.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of putting that. Positive noises.
I think this podcast is a positive noise.
For the most part. It depends on what team you're on, I think.
Sure.
So I think last week you had predicted that, or maybe 2 weeks ago, when the 50 days had come out, September 2nd would be World War III. Was that more or less?
I don't know if it was that on the nose. I think my prediction, the spirit of my prediction was more Trump's going to do something when the deadline happens. But yeah, he's moved it up. And I think he knows that Putin is winning. Putin doesn't feel pressed to make a deal. And I think Putin's probably going to try to call Trump's bluff. And the big question, we heard MSNBC and CNN ask themselves this question, pulling their hair out and bursting blood vessels on television. Is he crazy enough to nuke the world? Well, I find myself asking a similar question of, is he crazy enough to attack Russia to make a point? And there's always the possibility that Russia is just as weak as Iran. And you attack Russia and they do the same thing Iran did, where you don't hear from them again. But I think it's a little different ball game. And I think that's why Trump, he shortened the deadline, but he's not necessarily demeaning Putin anymore. He's just more or less saying, I hope we make a deal, but I don't know that we will.
So the prediction has been updated now.
Well, you don't have a record of what the prediction was last week.
Well, the prediction now is Trump will do something. Good. As soon as he wakes up and yawns on...
Look, I don't want World War III.
No one wants... Well,
you're trying to paint me into a corner of predicting World War III.
I'm saying, I'm going to listen back to the tape last week, and I'm going to see. Actually, I should check the transcript.
I don't think I said World War III in 50 days.
Yeah, not exactly, but you were saying something big was going to happen. Like you were like, we're not talking about slapping.
Well, that's
tariffs.
Almost as vague as Trump's going to do something.
Oh, so we're not talking about slapping tariffs. You were talking about a direct attack on Russia. I believe, in my heart of hearts, I believe that's what you were saying. 50 days.
I don't know.
attack. I'm just looking at. Was it last week where this prediction
Yeah,
occurred?
it was last week. It was definitely last week.
50 days. Yeah, we'll play it back. We'll run it back eventually. Next week I'll run it back and see what you said, because it was definitely. Yeah, see, Potty Mouth saying I recall the convo. Dan's right.
You don't know, Potty Mouth.
World War III, 50 days. That being said, timeline has been moved up now to October 5th through the 8th, or 7th through the 8th. I think that's 10 or 12 days from when the comment was
You mean
made.
August?
Yeah, August 5th or 6th. So we'll see. We'll see if World War III happens and if you're right.
Well, speaking, and I want to talk about this before we get any further into Europe, Russia specifically, and then Georgia, from what I have. Let's talk about the Europe trade deal.
Okay.
Because we have said for a long time, we've subscribed in some way to the Tom Luongo school of thought that most of this is a strategy to assert the dominance of the U.S. dollar over European markets, to put it in a very succinct way. And we've got a decision coming out tomorrow on interest rates from the Fed. You get the CPI report, and then Jerome Powell will talk about whether they decide to lower rates or raise rates or keep them steady. And I think tomorrow we find out whether or not, to a large degree, whether or not the Tom Luongo theory was either spot on, couldn't be more correct, or maybe true. But I think you get the trade deal with Europe. You get the 15% tariff that Trump wanted. Europe, I mean, most of the things they promised in this trade deal are things that probably would have happened anyway. So you really just get the 15% tariff on certain things coming from Europe. And I think Europe is cemented as the economic vassal to America. And if the Tom Luongo school of thought is correct, and I mean utterly correct, it could still be correct if this doesn't happen, but it would be spot on. I mean, he couldn't be more over the target if tomorrow we get a rate cut. Because the reason I say that, the idea is that even though the rest of the world has cut rates, the U.S. has kept rates high to try to move investment into the U.S. dollar and cement the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency, and to take some autonomy, some economic leadership away from London, away from Europe, away from Brussels, and move it back to the U.S. And I think with the 15% tariff from Europe, if we get a rate cut tomorrow, I might write Tom Luongo an email, because one, it would be huge. Markets would go crazy if we get a rate cut tomorrow. Massive news economically. Two, again, if we cut rates the day after the Europe trade deal is announced, in my mind, there's no disputing that this was all a monetary game. Which makes me wonder what happens with Ukraine next. If Ukraine was also a stressor to put pressure on Europe, and it's not really about Russia, it's about Europe, you might have several things happen in quick succession, where we get a rate cut, market goes crazy. What do you know? Putin and Trump are meeting in, I don't know, Helsinki or something. And, we make a deal.
Solid pick on location of the meeting.
Yeah, well, maybe. probably more like Turkey.
I was gonna say,
Istanbul.
for some reason, I always think Helsinki, and I know it's not, but I always think Helsinki is in Hungary.
Mm-mm.
It wouldn't be Helsinki because they would arrest Putin in Helsinki. But yeah, Turkey
Yeah,
would be good.
I was just hearkening back to previous meetings between U.S. presidents and Russian leadership.
Yeah, back then Helsinki was neutral territory. Now it's NATO.
Yeah.
That's in
Yeah, so
Finland, one of the Nordic states.
you're asking about Helsinki?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Finland.
Okay. So
Yeah, but what do you think I'm on track here or on crack with conflating these things?
I mean, I think you're good. The only issue I see is right now, Polymarket, they don't believe at all that there's going to be any change in rates tomorrow announced. So 90.
Yeah, well, Polymarket's a bunch of foreigners.
Well, not really. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are foreigners because technically it's barred in the U.S., but it is dealing with crypto. So it can be anyone from anywhere. But 98.2% of Polymarket odds say no change tomorrow. And the decrease options are 1.8% for 25 basis point decrease and less than 1% for 50 basis point decrease.
Sure. I mean, it's a long shot, but this whole idea of the war in Ukraine, the rates remaining high in the U.S., all of it being about the global monetary capital of the world moving back to the U.S. or being solidified as being in the U.S. No question. BRICS is over. If this theory is correct, that all of this is over, is wresting monetary control from Europe and firmly seating it in the USA, there's no question about who's in control. And basically, your World War III is over. It's done. It was all monetary, and the U.S. wins, and I hope you have some stocks.
Well, it would be interesting if the 10 or 12 days timeline was moved up because he got solid commitment from Powell that he's gonna duck rates on the 30th, July 30th. That would be unique. Although they don't seem to be getting along. Did you see? I don't have the clip, but did you see the clip of those two talking? They were wearing hard hats.
So good.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, classic. Have you ever seen the movie Grumpy Old Men?
It's kind of exactly like that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I was waiting for one of them to look at the other and say, some days I wish you'd pull your bottom lip over your head and swallow.
Right. If I had a dog as ugly as you, I'd shave its butt and teach it to walk backwards. Well, it was interesting, and if you haven't seen the clip, you should look it up. But effectively, Trump's rattling off numbers about buildings, and he says, "Oh, we just got today. It's 3.2 billion, or whatever the numbers were." And Jerome Powell says, "This is the first time I'm hearing that. That didn't come from us."
He says, "No."
And Trump opens up his sport coat. He pulls out a piece of paper and he says, "Look, this is from the Fed."
While looking at the press, not even looking at Jerome.
Right. So this is the first time I'm seeing this. It's just, it's funny. He just
and then he corrects it. He says, "No, you included construction that we've already done." And then it's just this very polite bickering of, well, it is construction and you did do it. Yeah, but we've already done it. It's not going to be a cost moving forward. That kind of thing.
Back and forth. It's funny. Like children.
It was so funny.
Really just petulant children at that point. But very entertaining to watch. It's,
hey, it gave me a little bit more respect for Powell.
Yeah, he stood on his ground, but he's no fan of Trump. Trump's been calling for his replacement for the past couple of months. And
well, I see that, and again, this plays into the Luongo theory, but that scene of them with the hard hats on, bickering about the smallest little detail that Trump fudged just to make a point. I see it. It looks so much like a good cop, bad cop play to me.
Well, what's interesting about the Longo theory is that he was very much team Jerome Powell. It was kind of Powell was orchestrating this whole scheme against Europe, and he's very much a pro Trump guy. So I haven't actually checked in on Tom and his thoughts.
Well, if he's moved to advocating Trump's stance of cutting rates, then I think he probably thinks the deed is done.
If he has, and that's a big if, and 98% of people on poly markets are saying no right now.
Well, people on poly markets don't know.
It's true. They're betting. They are betting.
They're betting. They don't know.
But they're putting their money where their mouth is. So,
Well,
it's not like predicting, 50 days World War III will happen or anything like that. I always forget. I should look at poly markets more often. Presidential election winner 2028. 28% of the pack is saying J.D. Vance, 13% Gavin Newsom, 11% Alexandria Cortez. Oh my God, Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh my God, they don't know.
Well, 8% think Pete Buttigieg. So, that really does not.
That doesn't help your case.
No, it does not. It does not. We'll see. Man, J.D. Vance is the best we've got. Yeah.
By the way, for anyone out there that finds this discussion compelling and wants to rearrange any of their finances in anticipation of the potential for some major dominoes to start falling tomorrow, the announcement from the Fed will come at 2 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow.
That is interesting. It's looking like, so I just realized that there's a different date. So September 17th, which is my birthday, and will be the second Fed decision after tomorrow. Tomorrow's being the first, of course. There's a 55% chance of a 25% basis point by September 17th, or on September 17th. So there is some optimism there, but people are not seeing it happening tomorrow from the poly market perspective. So there's that. Interesting.
We shall see.
We shall see indeed.
If rates don't get cut tomorrow, I promise to do the newsletter next week.
Deal. I will take that. I will take that.
MMO.show/newsletter. Okay.
Now,
I mentioned Ann. What?
I was about to say that. You had mentioned Ann Applebaum. I saw that the DW, oddly, had a 20-minute video out with her.
I've got clips.
Perfect.
And I've got 3 clips. They're not really related to one another, but they're interesting. And we talk about information warfare here a lot. We've sort of waned on it as of late, but it's an undergirding theme of our show. Information warfare is, and I think Ann Applebaum. By the way, if you don't know who Ann Applebaum is, she is a writer and geopolitical theorist. I think she would fancy herself, and she's married to, is it the Polish ambassador?
Spouse.
Not the music guy, but the actual
served as minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland. His name is Radoslaw Sikorski. No wonder Applebaum kept her name.
Yes.
He's now the deputy prime minister of Poland.
Yes.
Like
big
vice president.
Wig. Yes, and Applebaum, this is right up her road, and I think she's a spook. Basically, I'll just stop burying the lead. I think Anne Applebaum is a spook. She's married to this guy who's high up in the Polish government, and I think it's a pretty easy assignment for her because she hates Russia, and I think she's the spiritual successor of Victoria Nuland. And anytime you have someone as treacherous as Victoria Nuland and as effective as Victoria Nuland, see, that's the problem. Anne Applebaum, Victoria Nuland, they're not stupid, which really makes them dangerous. And I think you can learn a lot from them, which is why I have these clips. And going back to the information warfare part, she's going to talk a little bit about Russia's information strategy. And in a roundabout way, she's saying the quiet part out loud because basically you're criticized in the West if you are critical of Western institutions when Western institutions are obviously corrupt and morally bankrupt, which I don't think is too controversial to say. I don't think they're beyond reform, but there are definite flaws. But if you point those flaws out, then you're teetering on the edge of carrying water for Putin. We've seen this talking point. So Anne Applebaum talks about Russia's information strategy, and just tell me what you think about her assessment here.
Okay. Information strategy?
Yeah, that one.
Gotcha.
In the Soviet era, the Soviet Union was promoting something, their vision of the world, their idea of the great communist future, and we could compare what they said to the reality. So there was clearly a gap between who they said they were and what they were really doing. Actually, Putin doesn't really promote his model. He doesn't spend a lot of time talking about how great Russia is and how, Lithuania and Spain should be like Russia, and nobody really thinks that. It's an entirely negative form of propaganda. It's about promoting cynicism, promoting nihilism, promoting apathy, persuading people to dislike their so-called establishment, to dislike their political systems. It's a negative campaign rather than a positive one, and that turns out to be a little harder to fight.
Aha! We are nothing more than stooges in the Russian propaganda playbook.
Yes, but what she says there is that Russia doesn't even have to tell us that our institutions and our society sucks. That it's a negative propaganda, which basically means, hey, we don't have to say anything because people are realizing that their leaders are dopes and liars.
Right. Yeah, she's big into, to your point about her being the spiritual successor of Victoria Nuland. She wrote a lot in 2014 about Russian smear campaigns and the annexation of Crimea. So she's heavily involved in that during that period. Again,
yes,
while holding a relationship with a Polish politician.
Yes,
that probably,
very high level.
Probably has some perspectives on Russia that are not friendly.
I would guarantee that.
Yep.
Okay, so the next clip I have is a recurring threat, and I think you'll recognize this threat. I pointed this out from Victoria Nuland herself in the past, and I think this is a threat that's actively being made to Putin, and it's one of these things that is kind of seeping out in polite society in these milieus, which is why you hear Victoria Nuland say it now that she's retired, and you hear Anne Applebaum say it.
And what does Putin not understand?
So Putin has underestimated from the beginning. He's first of all underestimated the Ukrainians. He knows very little about modern Ukraine. He doesn't know who they are. He didn't understand that the Ukrainian government is a genuine elected government. It has support, and that the Ukrainian national identity is real, and that the Ukrainians will fight back as long as they can, and that includes fighting a guerrilla war if Kiev were to fall.
Bingo.
The Ukrainians will fight a guerrilla war if Kiev were to fall?
Yes, I've brought the same exact talking point from Victoria Nuland in the past.
Like the guerrilla warfare they waged on their own government in 2014?
Sure, I think it'd be a little more guerrilla-y.
Like the Polish resistance in World War II?
There you go. You're getting closer.
There's always that one movie, I forget what it's called, with Daniel Craig, and he's in the forest, and they're going out and fighting Nazis with the communists during the day.
Inglourious Bastards?
No, that's the Jewish faction. This is like just these Polish people living in the woods, and they like start their own kind of commune, and the men go out and fight the Russians, and then everyone comes back and has their portion of soup. And Daniel Craig gets his pick of the woman because he's the leader of the communist camp. I don't know. It's weird. But that's kind of what...
Sounds Defiance.
Defiance, yeah. That kind of sounds like the guerrilla warfare that Ukraine would fight if it falls to Kiev. But that would be... I think that would be probably a pretty good inciter of World War III if we're now... funding these guerrillas in Ukraine and joining the guerrillas in Ukraine to make sure he doesn't stop, make sure he stops in Ukraine, which he's not going to. Those kind of claims.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you the runway for Moldova here.
Okay.
And I'm going to let Ann Applebaum take us there. Basically by talking about some neighbors with Hungary and Slovakia.
Then why, if we look especially at Europe, countries with similar histories of oppression, of Russian and Soviet occupation for that matter, react so differently to Putin's war? I mean, the best examples, of course, are Slovakia and Hungary.
No, they're different. Hungary is very important because to understand about Hungary, you need to understand that Viktor Orban is leader of a country that is failing economically, that is badly in need of money and investment. He and his party is in need of money and investment, and he believes now that he will get it from Russia and China and not from Europe. So Hungary is the decision of one leader. Who has made this decision to back Russia, and he backs Russia. I mean, it's not very nuanced. Slovakia is a little bit more complicated. I think it's also about money. It's also about Fico's allegiance to Orban. It's about his fear of Slovak courts and Slovak civil society. And it's less clear to me that he'll stick to some kind of line. But Orban is simply has made a decision to switch sides. By the way, you can see huge protests on the streets of Budapest against him. So it's not that not all Hungarians agree with him.
And what can be done about it externally? You don't expel countries from NATO and the European Union.
I mean, I'm not in charge of NATO and the European Union, but if I were, yeah, I would have found a way to suspend Hungary's voting rights. I mean, Hungary is not an ally anymore. Hungary is not acting as in good faith as a member of the EU, and I would have suspended them. But one doesn't want to kick them out because there are other Hungarians, and there's at least more than half the population would like him to go.
Maybe a poet could shoot him when he's giving a public address, which happened in Slovakia.
Yeah, it sure did.
So Robert Fico.
Some strong words from Applebaum.
Suspending Hungary, they've talked about that for a long time, and that's something that we've talked about on this show.
No, but I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about her saying outright, Orban has switched sides.
Yeah, he's a Russian puppet. That's all of the talking points that you need. That's the pressure now gets put on. You get the gay flags in, you get the EU banners into Hungary, and you get the pressure on Orban, and that's what we saw with the
And
Pride
for anyone
March.
who's wondering about Dan's gay flag comments, just wait for the Georgia segment. We are going to explain that again, even though we've explained it before and seen example after example of how it works. Just wait for Georgia.
I'm excited. I'm upset that I missed this. I'm very excited for the Georgia segment. Yeah, but Hungary and Slovakia. Robert Fico was the president of Slovakia that was shot by a poet because he also was, this fascist leader that was cozying up to Putin along with Orban below him. And then Serbia, which is kind of plays the East and the West, really holds no allegiance towards either. It's this strip right down leading into the tip of the Balkans that are the effective bad boys of European Union and the Balkans combined. Everyone else is a good guy, according to the world stage. But yes, Moldova is interesting. Now, Moldova is also a part of this, and the BBC put together an 8-minute video that I've cut down into 3 shorter clips. And they hint on fifth-generation warfare, but the whole point of the segment of why they're in Moldova and doing this isn't really revealed to the audience, and you guys will pick up on it right away when you hear it, until the end of the video. And it's literally the last 30 seconds of this video that you understand the entire point for why the BBC would put this out here. So I'll start, and it's an intro, and the BBC anchor kind of hints at fifth-generation warfare without saying it by name. He calls it hybrid warfare, but in actuality, he's meaning fifth-generation warfare. So here we go. BBC Moldova. I think.
All battles are fought.
There it is. Wasn't loading for some reason.
Not all battles are fought with bullets.
Financing coming from Kremlin, vote buying, using of criminal ties from Russia.
I'm in Chisinau, the capital city of Moldova, at a vital geopolitical crossroads on Europe's eastern flank. To its east is Ukraine, a country fighting for its very survival.
Everybody realizes that we are next.
To its west, Romania, a member of NATO and of the European Union.
We want to be in the circle of European Union, of peace.
Moldova is a member of neither. And for many, that puts it in Putin's sights.
We know where you live, we're gonna burn your house.
Mafia. These are mafia. Where have all the protesters gone? If there is such a thing as Cold War II, this is the front line.
Hey.
We are tired of being in the front lines.
Radu Marian is an influential MP from the ruling PAS party, which supports Moldova's bid to join the European Union.
Russia, they've always been aggressive towards Moldova when we were tilting towards the European Union, but now it's an unprecedented assault on our democracy and our election process and our information space. So it's a total hybrid war. They cannot attack us militarily, but they're throwing everything else. There's no hiding behind this. And we don't have a big army. We're not a big nation. And so Ukraine is not only fighting for itself, but for Moldova.
How much more severe has it become since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine?
It became much more severe. We have recorded evidence of 140,000 people receiving money for voting in a certain way. That's around 8% of the electorate.
8% of the electorate receiving money for voting. This sounds like a familiar story.
Yes.
Because those people that received money are a part of a country that technically doesn't exist, called Transnistria. You remember the Transnistria?
Yep.
That's in Moldova. And so the BBC clip continues now. We're going to talk about Transnistria and the pro-Russians that live there. And what's interesting in this segment, and I cut out a lot of the people on the ground, is when they're interviewing somebody that is kind of not in this pro-Russian sphere, but as a general Moldovan, and they're giving their point of view, it's dubbed into English. When they're interviewing the pro-Russian people, there's captions on the screen of the video, which is very subtle.
This is also a thing in the Georgia production.
Same thing.
Yeah.
The good guys get dubbed and translated. The bad guys get subtitles.
Yep.
There you go. All right. So this is Moldova, Transnistria, and pro-Russians.
Relations are made more tense by Transnistria. The enclave, internationally recognized as part of Moldova, borders Ukraine, but is controlled by pro-Russian forces.
Last year, in the winter, they stopped the gas flows to Transnistria. That's so desperate. I mean, there are 200,000 Russian citizens there, and they stopped the gas flows to Transnistria, hoping that this will trigger a humanitarian crisis that will spill over to Moldova and triggering an instability in the country. They lost their biggest weapon of pressure in Moldova, and that is energy.
At the heart of Moldova's constitution is a commitment to neutrality, but is being used by Russian sympathizers as an excuse to remain silent over the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The invasion has prompted discussions over whether Moldova being neutral makes the country less safe. It's for that reason that pro-European President Maia Sandu has hinted that the country may need to amend the constitution.
Maia Sandu got the most votes ever for any political candidate. She got 1 million votes almost. To change the constitution and to make it, to remove neutrality, you would need, 1.4, 1.5 million. So that's just incredibly hard.
During our interview, a protest suddenly began outside the Parliament building we were in. It was organised by the pro-Russian Heart of Moldova Republican Party, who were keen to speak up in favour of neutrality. It was quite something to hear Moldova being compared to war-torn Ukraine. Protesters left as quickly as they'd arrived, and the whole event seemed to be more of a pre-planned PR stunt than a protest.
Where have all the protesters? Where have all the protesters gone? So, the PAC, the member of Congress that he was interviewing in the first clip, and in the second clip was talking about the number of votes that they would need to change the Constitution. And the Constitution of Moldova effectively says that it will remain neutral, won't join the East, won't join the West. It won't join anything. And the Western kind of hemisphere and influence that you hear in that politician is saying we need to change the Constitution so we can roundly side with Europe and join the EU. Enter the gay flags and the EU flags.
Yeah.
But the entire point of the clip is revealed in this last one. And you'll hear some very solid connections to that of Georgia. And I think they even evoke the name of Georgia in this clip.
Having seen a pro-Russian group in action, we were keen to find out how else the Kremlin is seeking to infiltrate Moldova.
Many people are living in this ecosystem of disinformation.
Andrei Kuriraru and his organization, Watchdog, identify and expose misinformation.
We have some AI commenters on our stuff, and they always have a link to their Telegram channel. It usually is the Telegram channel of Shor, a oligarch that here in Moldova is doing the bidding of Kremlin. There's hundreds of them. They produce thousands of posts. A second part of it is, that is new to us is involvement of clergy and teachers. They are getting them to Moscow or to other places for so-called study trips, and for the clergy they say it's pilgrimages. So they preach the ideas of Russian propaganda. There have been spotted more than 200 of the clergy. That would be 1/3 of the clergy in Moldova. If your teacher says that, if your priest says that, if all the notifications on your phone are from Telegram, most likely you're gonna see the world through the lens of Kremlin.
People like Andrei are working under the threat of a new foreign agents law, a draft of which opposition MPs have submitted to Parliament. Similar to the controversial bill introduced in Georgia, it would target people and organisations receiving support from outside Moldova.
I would be on that list for sure. We are already facing a lot of threats. I personally was targeted by a Russian-style threats, like I was called for 6 hours in continuum and saying, we know where you live, we're gonna burn your house, we know where your parents live, and so on. There were cyber attacks on my Gmail and stuff like that. And we always warn people around it because many people in Moldova see how disastrous it has gone for Georgia. There's a whole generation of people like me who are educated in the West and who want our country to succeed, and that's what we are doing here.
There's a whole generation of people like me that are educated in the West and want our country to succeed.
That's a great final line.
To succeed is an interesting term there because to succeed is to have success, but to succeed from Eastern influence as well. To remove yourself from such. So, the whole clip was about that foreign agents bill, the same one that we have here in the United States that Georgia passed. Now Moldova is considering passing a foreign agents bill, which states that if there is an entity operating within the country that is receiving foreign funding, it must register as a foreign funded entity. Why is that a huge deal? I don't know, but the Europeans don't like it. I think because the vast majority of these grassroots movements that are occurring within the countries will be exposed as foreign funded, EU, US funded.
Yes, of course.
Of course. So same story in Moldova as we've heard time and time again in Georgia.
Same story in Georgia. Let's go to the Georgia production. And this was by ABC News. You know, it's come from the DW or from other vague outfits. This one is from ABC News In Depth. It's an in-depth branded production. And when I tell you the production value is next level, I mean it. Not only do you have the nuance of giving good guys their own audio dub and subtitling the bad guys, you also have some very, very interesting music choices that go into this report. I just want you to keep your ears open for those as we go through them. But let's do the intro to this whole piece first.
With mountains and monasteries, this is a tourist hotspot and a hotbed of hostility.
Oh boy.
At the foot of that mountain, you're in Russian-occupied territory. That is a Russian military base on land seized by Vladimir Putin in a bloody invasion. But I'm not in Ukraine. I'm in the former Soviet Republic of Georgia. And now, the chill winds of a new Cold War are blowing through Tbilisi. Fears of influence, of infiltration.
We believe that we officially now have Russian government. They speak Georgian, but they are Russians.
For those here banking on a European future, the rule of the Georgian dream government has become an Orwellian nightmare. The party has sabotaged the country's prospects of joining the EU amid allegations of a stolen election to benefit Russia.
It's a shift towards Russia, which is a new strategy, which is no longer the direct military aggression. If it works here, it can be applied anywhere.
The people we've spoken to here believe that the Georgian Dream government is actually being influenced by Russia.
This question is not a serious one. It's part of a kind of propaganda.
Is this part of a sinister plot by the Kremlin to shape politics across Europe?
Wow. Wow, you could have gotten this.
Got some real pros working on this package.
Yeah, I love the music, the dread music.
Okay, so our very first introduction to Georgia after that setup is going to be about the sheer brutality of the Georgia Dream Party.
Georgia sits in the shadow of Russia. Across the Black Sea from Ukraine, sandwiched between Europe and Asia. Its sovereignty prized, but hard won. Every night for months now, anti-government protesters have taken up positions outside the parliament. They're being watched. Guram Ragava is a reporter for a pro-opposition TV station.
There's a lot of people wearing face masks. Why are people covering their faces?
You see a lot of cameras are here, and if they found your face and you're standing on the streets, you have to pay a bill. It's a lot of money, 5,000 lari.
It's about 2,500 Australian dollars. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money for Georgians.
That's like $40 US.
But Georgian Dream's enforcers don't just hit detractors in the pocket.
Yeah, I was on live. I was telling to my audience what is happening at that moment. I saw a lot of police without any identification. One of these policemen attacked me.
He fractured Guram's skull and neck.
The doctor told me that it's a miracle that I can still move my hands and legs. It's ironical that we have so much cameras around here, but government tells me that at that moment when I was attacked, there was some technical issues with all these cameras. It's bullshit. This is the message from Georgian Dream. Don't dream about democracy. Be silent and you will be alive. If not, we can do anything to you.
Be silent.
Same IT company that runs the Georgian cameras ran the Epstein cell cameras.
There it is. Okay, well, let's move on. And surprise, it's Russia.
More protesters arrive chanting slogans against the government, which the European Parliament says cheated its way into power. It's passed repressive laws that mimic those in Russia, and it started jailing dissenters. Before all this former Soviet republic had been poised to join the EU, a goal so cherished in Georgia it's enshrined in its constitution. When Georgian Dream blew up that process, it was the last straw for opposition politician Zurab Japaridze. He's boycotting parliament.
Any poll in this country will show that more than 80% of people support EU integration. And instead of going there and becoming a full member of European Union with all benefits that comes with it, we are becoming more and more autocratic countries.
He's been called to appear before a parliamentary committee, but has refused. That might soon land him behind bars.
How are you feeling about it?
A bit nervous, but I had the feeling that sooner or later we will get there when they will start arresting politicians. Yeah, I got family, I got 3 kids. It's not that easy to psychologically get prepared for that.
He's in no doubt where the blame lies for Georgia's anti-democratic tilt.
Who or what is behind it?
It's Russia, definitely. It's Russia's playbook.
The playbook.
The playbook
has returned.
We will revisit Mr. Zurab Gurchi, which Gurchi is his nickname, but his first name is Zurab. We'll revisit him at the end of this. all of this so far has just been a very quick setup for things we've already talked about on this show, but I wanted to show you how ABC presents them. You know, they say that the Georgia Dream Party has thrown out the possibility of EU membership for Georgia. The last we covered, the Georgia Dream Party was pro EU membership, but just wanted to focus on basically they didn't want to just sell out to the EU. They're very family values oriented, which is going to come up in just a minute. And we're pro EU, but maybe on a slower, more measured basis. Do you think I'm characterizing that correctly?
Sure. I would agree with that.
Okay. So let's let ABC tell us about the Georgia Dream Party.
There's a bizarre glass castle lording it over Tbilisi. It's the lair of an oligarch who made his billions in Russia in computing, banking and metals before founding the Georgian Dream Party on a pro-Europe platform. His name is Bidzina Ivanishvili. He's notoriously reclusive, making a rare appearance late last year at this party rally with his rapper son. After Russia invaded Ukraine, Ivanishvili turned on the EU and started touting a conspiracy theory, accusing dark forces in the West of trying to push Georgia into a war with Russia too.
Oh, dark conspiracy.
Dark forces.
Wow. We're not trying to push Georgia into war with Russia. But if a war does break out, it's definitely Russia's fault.
Yes. Okay, so let's continue. Now we're going to interview a Georgian Dream lieutenant and get her take on this conspiracy.
While some suspect he's been a Putin plant all along, one of his most loyal lieutenants is Georgian Dream's longest-serving minister, Taya Tsulukiani.
A lot of the people we've spoken to here believe that the Georgian Dream government is actually being influenced by Russia. Perhaps it's even acting on behalf of Russia. What do you say to that? Is that true?
For me, this is, with all my respect to you and to this question is not a serious one because it's part of a kind of propaganda.
She, like Ivanishvili, has a name for the dark forces working against Georgia, the Global War Party.
What is that? Tell me about that.
Today it's a bitter reality that multinational companies, oligarchs were trying to decide on political issues. And we feel it every day in Georgia. It's influence coming from outside.
But who's in this Global War Party? Who are these forces working against Georgia?
I do not personally know them.
And how is it that this government's so convinced that this thing exists when you don't even know who's in it?
I cannot answer questions as a Vice Speaker of this Parliament in a manner in which I would damage my own country's national security.
And you believe that there are outside forces?
I do not believe I know.
You know that there are outside forces trying to push Georgia into a war with Russia?
They were not trying, they were requesting us categorically.
Standing up more firmly to Russia, she says, would be national suicide.
This is the main reproach to us. Why don't we fight Russia with arms? But it means death of the Georgian nation.
I mean, she's not wrong there.
They were not requesting, they were not asking us, they were requesting categorically.
Her voice was weird, but she was saying that about the West?
Yes.
Yeah, join the EU. The Georgia is such an interesting one because it would be a slap in the face to Russia and a hardcore slap in the face. But they reside on such an important part of the Black Sea, you know? But yeah, it's
Yes.
interesting because the global war party sounds a lot like the term the globalists that we keep referring to and how they're so bloodthirsty. Even though she's got a
Yes.
creepy villain voice, like a kind of lady that slits your throat while you sleep, um, she makes some points, but that's obviously why they put her on to represent the other team in this report.
Okay. Now, in conjunction with this global war party, and they weren't asking, they were requesting categorically that we open a front with Russia. There is a RAND think tank paper from 2019, I believe, that basically advocates that the best way to counter Russia, yes, 2019, published by the RAND Corporation in 2019, extending Russia, competing from advantageous ground. This document, commissioned by the U.S. Army, analyzes ways to exploit Russia's vulnerabilities and anxieties to overextend its resources economically, geopolitically, ideologically, and militarily while minimizing risks to the United States and its allies.
Almost sounds like the script has been flipped.
How so?
In that that's what they're doing to the West.
Well, potentially. I mean, that's been the theory of what they would have to do to the West to win.
Right.
Now, I don't know that they're actually doing it, that they're successfully doing it, but decoy drones versus Patriot
That's what I'm
missiles
saying.
sure seems like that.
That's immediately top of mind when I when I was saying like just spending bucks, deplete your resources over paper airplanes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. And now we're going. What any foreign op undertaken by the U.S. government or its players, its tools, would have to feature a certain kind of organization. What kind of organization am I thinking of, Dan? Where it's not a governmental organization.
Oh, the neo-governmental organization.
Ah, yes, the NGO. Let's learn about Justice for Prosperity.
Georgia is in a spasm of patriotism. Cute, but sinister. I'm meeting a man who knows about the dark side of nationalism. A former Dutch intelligence operative who's lived most of his life in the shadows. Now he's stepping into the light. Jelle Postma is the founder of the NGO Justice for Prosperity.
We are an intelligence service for good. We support the societies to understand better how they're being manipulated.
He and his team have seen evidence that Bidzina Ivanishvili continues to have financial interests in Russia.
What do you make of Mr. Ivanishvili's glass castle overlooking the city?
It's very symbolic, like the ultimate dictator's palace.
You gotta smash the glass castle. You're doing what they're doing is propaganda. What we're doing is right.
Yeah. Yeah, that point you just made gets so much better with this next clip. Family values.
For years, Jelle's been investigating how Russia's honed its playbook, exploiting family values to influence societies.
to Moscow's benefit.
We see 4 groups working together to further their own goals. These 4 groups are the political populist layer, in the case of Georgia, just Georgian Dream. Then we have the ultra-conservative, often religious organizations. Then the oligarchs, and they're in it for the big bucks, so to speak. And then finally, you have the extremists and the influencers. They work mostly below the radar to further their goals. And in the end, it is the people on the ground that are being, as the metaphor goes, slowly being boiled to death like the frog, but they're unaware.
To justify Georgia's pivot away from Europe, he says European values needed to be attacked.
What we see in Georgia is a laboratory of hate. When aiming to manipulate a society, nothing works like fear does. You need fear in society if you want more power as a government. And to be given that power, you need real fear in the streets. So fear-mongering, feeling and seeing riots, especially with some good photos in it, then you have your perfect playbook to get more votes and support, to be allowed to become more dictatorial. So any group would do. The LGBTQ community was the first ones out there. They were the best group because they're not well protected. There's only some NGOs that protect the LGBTQ community, which makes them just too easy of a target.
They're the target. The
go.
NGOs are protecting the LGBTQ community, proving what we've been telling you for months.
Yep. I knew you would love this report.
That is great. That is amazing.
When I heard it, I paused the video and just basked in it for a second.
Solid gold. Solid gold. So the West
Absolute
is using LGBTQ to push its agenda forward in Georgia, but it is the family values of Russia and the ultra-conservative influencers who stay in the shadows, oddly, the influencers, to push Russia's agenda of hate, the laboratory of hate.
Right.
Wow. Gotta love it.
Okay. And that's, by the way, to tie it into what I said earlier, that's why you see the LGBTQ flags at all of the pro-EU rallies. And it's the basic point that Dan had made probably a month ago now, is that in the far-right parties that were being denounced in all of the reports we covered, you had the actual nation's flag being flown. In the counter-protests, you had the LGBTQ flag being flown. And now it should all make sense as to what that is, why it's important, why you should pay attention to details.
The West is gay.
Marker.
Got it.
All right, let's continue with Family Purity Day.
Today is Family Purity Day,
Music's great.
established by the powerful Orthodox Church. There's a throng of Georgian Dream officials, including the Prime Minister, all here to defend so-called family values they feel are under threat from an overly permissive EU.
ბრძოლა გრძელდება ტრადიციული ფასეულობებისთვის. ეს ბრძოლა არ არის იოლი, არის ძლიერი ძალები, რომლებიც უპირისპირდებიან ტრადიციულ ფასეულობებს.
It's no accident that Family Purity Day is held on this date, because it's also the International Day against homophobia, transphobia and biphobia. And just last year, the Georgian Dream government made Family Purity Day a national holiday. That's not all.
the government's also passed a Russian-style law forbidding, among other things, the portrayal of LGBTQ people in the media.
Well, there you go. The West has cemented that the LGBT community is as part of its value. And if you are conservative or Christian and believe in a traditional family, then you are part of the laboratory of hate, which I love as a title.
I love that too.
And you're probably it's Russian propaganda. Christianity is Russian propaganda.
Definitely.
Wow. This is how they get their point across. I mean, are there elements of Russia interfering in Georgia? Is the Georgian Dream Party influenced by Russia? Probably. But at the end of the day, is wanting a conservative country built on Christian values bad and terrible? According to the West, yes. According to the European Union and their flag, the rainbow flag, indeed it is. It is a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now we are going to go to the guy who's dubbed. And we're going to listen to the founder of a group called Alt Info.
Konstantin Morgosha is the founder of the far-right group Alt Info. Some accuse it of being pro-Russian. The US brands it a violent extremist group.
This day for me is the most important day after the Christmas.
Is it not offensive to put this Family Purity Day on the same day for LGBTQI people?
LGBTQ propaganda day will... Oh, they even took away his subtitles there.
In 2021, far-right thugs broke into the headquarters of Tbilisi Pride. They hunted down pro-LGBT activists. And the man accused of orchestrating the violence? Konstantin Morgosha.
You've been sanctioned by the United States for inciting really violent attacks on gay pride events. Do you understand why they did that to you?
Because I fought for my country and I am proud of it.
Why are you so worried about and scared of the LGBTQI community and their supporters here in Georgia? But why are you so against them?
Why am I scared? I'm not scared at all. Because this threatens my country's traditions. So it's interesting. He spoke English when we first see him in the report. But then it switches to the subtitles, as you identified earlier. The bad guys get subtitles.
I mean, his English probably isn't that great, but he can string together. After Christmas, this is the best day.
Yeah, yeah. His the one that went away that I was trying to say earlier was LGBT Propaganda Day will be celebrated only when Israel celebrates the Nazis.
Is that the one?
That's what he said, yeah. That's the first one they captioned.
Yeah. There's levels to it, of course. But at the same time, calling anybody that might be conservative or on the Christian side Russian stooge does not help the case, specifically with the majority of people that identify as Christian and traditional.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got the point here. We're well past thanking some people. So unless you have more Europe, I think we should nip this in the bud and get on to thanking some people for allowing us to be here.
Let's do that.
Millennial Media Offensive.
That's right, you're rolling along with the Offensive Live Tuesday every night, every Tuesday, every week at 5:30 p.m. We don't do ads. We don't have sponsors. We don't have writers. It's just John and I. It's just us two putting this out, and we rely on our listeners and the people that are having the conversation along with us to return that value to us. There's many ways to do that. You can send us art. You can go to mmo.show/donate and look at one of the many options of sending fiat or Bitcoin. We've gotten a couple of boosts here tonight, as well as a couple of donations that I'm going to read. But that being said, that's the only way that we get value. And we always like to start off by thanking the person that provided the art. And the art from last week came from none other than Wolf. He's back on the board again. And this piece was good. I could tell it would raise a couple of hairs. I purposely changed the thumbnail on YouTube to show this image to see if that would do anything to our YouTube. So far, nothing. You can still have semi-controversial looking art on YouTube and not be kicked off. So this is great. What would you describe this font as? Kind of Middle Eastern-y?
Yeah, it's very... I want to say Sanskrit. I don't think that's going to be accurate. It's very Arabic. Arabic is what I'm looking for.
Arabic, yes. So the Millennial Media Offensive in Arabic, and the Babylon Bee wearing what can only be described as a very large yarmulke with the Star of David on
it. Yes.
And a random number of subscribers that they have.
Just completely random.
That's right.
Unreal.
Yeah. Everything about this piece was kind of perfect. Perfect for our heated discussion. I got pretty incensed when talking about the bombing of the Catholic Church in Gaza. And I don't know, just this piece just fits so well. I liked it a lot. He did send in a couple of other ones, including one that was highlighting my porn star calves, which looked like I had not changed my socks in about 40 years, but this piece...
Gaza socks.
Gaza
is what
socks,
we call them.
that's right. My Gaza socks. This piece was a cut above the rest, I think. He had a couple of resubmissions in there, too. But, yeah. The Gaza socks were not it for me. It was the Babylon.
No, it would have been a great title, but we didn't say that until the end of the show.
That's true. That is true indeed. Well, we do need some art for this evening. Thank you, Wolf, for this piece. It was amazing. I believe that Wolf... Oh, he says it's a Latin font, which makes sense. I hope you ride your magic carpet of creativity to our emails at dan@mmo.show and john@mmo.show and whip up something beautiful for this evening because we're in need of art. But, my Lord, this is a great piece. Wolf has got one of those creative senses where we talk about something and he's able to execute on it. I would have a concept of it and I would never be able to get it to look like the way I want it to, and he does that every time. And so I'm always happy when I get an email from
He's
Wolf.
an artist. That's what an artist is.
That's true. They're able to take concepts and put them into an image that represents the concept better than I am. I just have to talk into a microphone, and half the time I don't even get my actual point across. So thank you very much, Wolf. On top of art, we also like to thank the people that send in their fiat donations as well. They went to mmo.show/donate and found out how to do that. And on the top of the list, earning themselves an associate executive producer credit, that's $50 or more, comes in Berlin. And Berlin says, "You are doing everything right. OTO."
On the offensive.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Thank you very much, Berlin. Bavaria. I don't know if Berlin's not in. It's actually in the north of Germany, if that is where you're from. But our biggest European segment is Bavaria, of all places. So thank you very much. Up next, Eli the coffee guy comes in with $33.33 and says, took your advice from the last show and tried copulating while playing the podcast. Now every time she's in the mood, she yells, let's get it on, like the show opening. Oh, Eli, you dog.
I think you mean co-opulating.
No, he says cope, C-O-P-E. Cope.
Yes,
I'm
joking.
We could co-opulate later. She screams, let's get it on. For producers who want coffee that energizes and adds vigor to your days, visit gigawattcoffeeroasters.com and use code OTO20 for 20% off your order. Stay caffeinated and stay on the offensive.
On the offensive.
Eli, the coffee guy. Awesome. Thank you, Eli. The Millennial Bookkeeper. Wow. All of our friends from all over the world are coming in. The Millennial Bookkeeper Down Under of Vegemite and such comes in through PayPal with $20.75. And she says, for my household and most people that I know, the economy, including the housing crisis and the cost of living, is the absolute number one issue. We don't care about culture wars and we don't vote for personalities. We just want to stop feeling like we're working hard and still falling behind. We want to be able to afford to have a family and to have one parent able to stay home with the children. So we don't want someone else raising our babies. So yes, it's the economy, stupid. Aha! Vindication. Vindication indeed. It's so sweet, John. How do you feel? Sulking over there.
I feel great.
My anecdotal data point paid off. Thank you, Millennial Bookkeeper, very much for that. Boobs and Beer comes in through PayPal with $20 and says, always a pleasure to be on the offensive. OTO, Boobs and Beer.
On the offensive.
Thank you, Boobs and Beer. Great to hear from you. Plaid Potion, he came in actually last week late at the end of the show, so we didn't get to read it. But he came in with $19.84, and he says, probably too late to squeeze one out for tonight. It's never too late, sir. But congrats to Dan on the good news, OTO and OTT.
On the offensive.
What is OTT?
I don't know what OTT is.
On the titty, maybe? Breastfeeding?
Potentially?
Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Plaid Potion. Always a pleasure. Sir Leafheart.
Catch me OTT.
Yeah, OTT. I'm sure it's something obvious that everyone else is going to start posting in the chat pretty soon here, but thank you, Plaid Potion. Sir Leafheart came in through Cash App with $10 and no note. Appreciate the dono. Cotton Gin came in through Cash App with $10 as well and says OTO.
On the offensive.
And then he says, cop you late. There you go. Thank you, sir. People liked the copulate intro. R from Parts Unknown came in through PayPal with $9.69. Hey, R from Parts Unknown, Ghislaine Maxwell gets a pardon and starts an OnlyFans. This is the way. Also, that would be good. You said that, didn't you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Also, why does John pronounce it Epstein? And I have had IRL friends that listen to the show ask me that exact question. Why do you pronounce it Epstein?
No reason.
Just having fun.
Just having fun. That's
go.
I'm glad. I'm glad people are listening.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, people are hearing it. Potty Mouth comes in through Cash App, sending $8.88, and I have to censor this one just for my own future employment potential. He says, okay, you know what an anagram is, right? Meaning a word that can be made from arranging the letters in a different word, right? Okay, well, I was looking at your name and realized N-word hand is an anagram for Dan Gehring. So you probably know I'm going to have no choice but to refer to you occasionally as N-word hand. You got porn star calves? Well, congrats. You have an N-word hand now, too. Thank you, Potty Mouth. I hope you can appreciate why I did not read that.
Holy crap, he's right.
He is right. He is right.
Show title.
We are not doing Edward Hand. Well, maybe N-word hand, but not right. Great. Thank you, Potty Mouth. Potty Mouth is the guy who's been putting together the songs that are at the end of the show, and we get a lot of positive feedback about that. We got another one that I'm going to post tonight. It's a little bit different style than what he's done, but he churns them out. He's making probably 2 or 3 songs a day, so gotta love the creativity and ingenuity. Thank you, Potty Mouth. Weirdo comes in through Cash App, $5.33, and he gives us a roundabout and roundly OTO.
On the offensive.
The Nail Lord of Gaylord comes in through Venmo and with $5, and he says, N-Log here, OTO.
On the offensive.
We have seen a surge in buy now, pay later transactions at the salon in the last 2 years.
Oh, no.
That's right. As a capitalist, I'm cool with it. Is it a good sign for the economy? Probably not. There you go. Thank you, Nail Lord
Becky,
of
I
Gaylord.
love your nails. Yeah. 3 more payments of $5.99, and they'll be all mine.
I leased them. The Nail Lord's going to come for me if I don't make my payment. Thank you. Thank you, Nail Lord. It was a pleasure to hear from you.
Oh, he gets full payment. It's Klarma that'll be coming for her.
Klarma. I love it. Because claw?
Well, Klarma is an actual.
Yeah, but it should be
BNPL
Klarma.
company. Klarma.
Yeah, you get it?
Claw my money back.
That's right. I really wanted the 8-inch nails, but I could only afford the 4-inch nails. Either way.
No, now you can afford the 8-inch nails.
Man, I don't like that look. The nails are symbolic of I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything with my hands.
Oh, yeah.
Because you really can't do anything with your hands. If you watch a lady with long nails use a phone, it's like ridiculous. She looks crazy trying to do it. But yeah, it's a flex saying I don't have to do anything. I don't have to work with my hands, and that's why I can have long nails. And I'm convinced that's what it is. R from Parts Unknown comes back again through PayPal for $3.69, and he says, R again, instead of 2/3 domestic and 1/3 international, imagine 2/3 international and 1/3 domestic. Hopefully we hear some Cambodia and Thailand analysis. OTO.
The people love international news, and I think it's just because
they don't get it.
You don't get it?
No, they don't get it in the mainstream.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's constant inundation of Orange Man bad and AOC's mad. So thank you, R again. Finally, Sir Joel, KOTSOF. I'm not sure what that stands for. Comes in through PayPal with $3.33 and says, trying to set up a monthly. Let's see if I get the option once I click next. Stay OTO.
On the offensive.
We'll see. I don't know. I didn't hear if he did. So maybe. But I appreciate it for everyone that came in tonight. Compared to last week, this is amazing. And it's actually amazing for any week. So much appreciated for everyone that went to mmo.show/donate and showed your support. We appreciate it. I think John's got some boosts to read.
We do. We have boosts from people that listen on modern podcast apps and send Bitcoin payments as they listen or in single amounts. And our top single amount from the last week is from CoinCat, who through the Fountain app sends 4,250 Satoshis with no note. Thank you, CoinCat. Trail Chicken comes in with 3,333 Satoshis, her usual, and says, thank you for listening to the Tucker Kirkson interview, so we don't have to. Stay on the offensive and sign up for the newsletter. Bok, bok. Yes, mmo.show/newsletter. I do my best to do it weekly. DJW comes in with 1,976 Satoshis and says, boost, boost, boost. OTO and YBG. Y'all be good. Thank you, DJW.
YGB.
On the offensive.
Y'all be good.
Sir Jared of South Burien lets go of 500 Satoshis and throws them our way with no note. Noster Gang comes in with 101 Satoshis and says, no zap dot stream?
Yeah, it's like a live stream for Noster. Basically, you can live stream to it.
We've never really set up Noster.
I am on Noster. The way that the profiles work through Fountain now is if you want to have a profile and respond and comment and stuff, you have to have a Noster profile set up. And I have that set up for myself. But I tried Zap.stream after this suggestion, and for whatever reason, I could not get the website to work or even load correctly. So I apologize. But we are on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Twitch. But
and if Dan is a fast and efficient learner, so if you want us to be on there, send some instructions. Reach out to Dan at MMO.show, and let him know what it entails. And I'm sure he doesn't do anything else really, so he's got plenty of time.
I just sit here. No, she did put out a call out because I told her that. I responded to her boost, and I said, I've tried, I can't. And she put out a call to the rest of the people on Noster to get me some help for that. So
help me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Noster.
Then we have Piez, who comes in with 100 Satoshis and sends a salute and flexing muscle emoji. And Eric PP streamed is currently, as he's listening to the show, streaming 1,667 Satoshis through CurioCaster.
And it means.
And I just want to say thank you all very much. We do this show for free. We don't charge you anything. We don't have bonus content that we charge you. We just put the show out, and our whole philosophy has always been, if it's worth anything, people will donate. But if you want to take that approach, you've got to ask people to donate. And that's what I'm doing right now. As you're hearing my voice, you will hear me say, please donate. Because we don't run ads. We will never run ads. We are reliant on the audience finding value in the show and returning that value to us. It's a play on the value for value system, if you've heard that. We like to call it, I think it's better branding, the value feedback loop. It tells you a little bit more about what it is if you just say it. And we're dependent on you. We're dependent on you. We're going to put the show out until people stop telling us that it's worthwhile. And the way people tell us it's worthwhile, it's with value. Monetary, informational, entertainment value, whether that be Jew in it. If you find value in it, I can almost promise you.
That has been John G. Do with the word, and N-word hands agrees.
Get it on.
My soundboard really does us dirty when it doesn't play the jingle right away. When I have a mic dropper kind of phrase like that, and then it's just silence, it's like, oh no, don't do that to me, soundboard. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, indeed?
Yeah. You just deal with it.
You got to. Yeah, you.
What you get for having a physical soundboard.
Well, it's physical and software, and the software gets laggy. We need a better soundboard solution. If you're out there listening and you've got a rock solid podcasting soundboard solution, let me know. I would love MIDI support for it and customizability. That's what we need here on The Offensive. We're just relying on freeware, pretty much. I had an old coworker's wife is starting a podcast, and I have a Zoom call tomorrow night to walk her through the basic concepts of a podcast. So that'll be fun.
That's very, very nice of you.
Giving back to the free speech community.
That's right.
Trump.
It's a great thing.
Trump has split with Netanyahu on Gaza. Have you seen this headline?
Yes.
I get a little segment here. I forget what news outlet is from. I'm sure they'll make it apparent when I play it. But here we go. I think.
President Donald Trump on the world stage touting a major victory while also facing urgent crises that threaten to overshadow that achievement. The president meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer today after the U.S. announced a significant trade agreement with the European Union. But much of their talk, as Trump himself acknowledged, focused on the humanitarian emergency in Gaza. The World Health Organization says malnutrition-related deaths are spiking there this month, 63 reported in July alone. And yet, speaking about the enclave on Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu argued there was no starvation. Trump today notably breaking with Netanyahu offering direct U.S. support.
So we're going to set up food centers and where the people can walk in and no boundaries. We're also going to make sure that they don't have barriers stopping people. You know, you've seen the areas where they actually have food and the people are screaming for the food in there. We can save a lot of people. I mean, some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that.
You can't fake that. So, I mean, it really did seem like a direct calling out of Putin there, saying there's no starvation.
Putin?
Well, might as well be.
A little bit of a Freudian slip there,
That's right.
Dan.
That's right. Netanyahu, our greatest ally.
Well, I loved Megyn Kelly went on, I forget what show she was on, but she said today that she doesn't trust anything coming out of Gaza because they're propaganda experts.
Does she know who the other team is?
Apparently not. But did you? So we covered Netanyahu going on the Nelk Boys last week. You did, specifically. And I've got a Young Turks clip about Rogan's response to this, and I think it's good. I think it's a good clip. I found it entertaining enough to bring to the show anyway. But did you hear, before I play it, did you hear what Netanyahu said was happening in Gaza with food on the Nelk Boys?
No, I did not.
So, and I also like Chunky Yogurt on the Young Turks.
Sure.
Started calling him the Milk Boys because they were milking Netanyahu.
That's funny.
That is funny. I got to give him props for that one. That's good. So Netanyahu's on the Milk Boys, and Netanyahu says that they're sending food to Gaza. You see, they're sending food to Gaza. Then Hamas is stealing the food and gouging the people of of Gaza so they can't afford the food, and then using the money to recruit more people to come fight with Hamas.
But of course.
No, I just don't think there's any food.
Right. You know what? Now
And
that you
Trump
say
is
that,
right.
I did hear
This
that.
is, if you watch any videos, which are not being shown on Western media, not at all, no shot. You're not getting those videos anywhere near a Western production studio. There's no food. The food that is there is not even close to enough. And by the way, you know, Trump can send all the food he wants to, but as long as the IDF is firing into crowds trying to get the food, you're not going to do much good.
Right. Yeah. Well, they're shooting the Hamas people that are stealing it.
Yes, of course.
That's the cell right there. Yeah, that's terrible. The guy that works at my local bodega, he's a Palestinian, and he said he doesn't even watch the news anymore because it's too painful to watch.
I
all
imagine
this
so.
BS and all the lies and everything that's going on about it. He smirked a little when I showed him our artwork. So there you go.
Okay, well, let's do this. Young Turks, Rogan on Israel.
Yeah, October 7th was awful. Absolutely.
Obviously.
Terrible attack. But also, what they've done to Gaza is insane.
It's insane.
And if you can't see that, if you can't say that, and your response is, Israel has the right to defend itself. Like, what are you talking about? Against what? Children?
Right.
Against women and children that are getting blown apart? Against aid workers that are getting killed? It's insane. And no one wants to talk about it. And if you do talk about it, you're anti-Semitic, which is so strange. Like, I don't know how they wrangled that.
Joe Rogan has consistently been accurate, correct, and pretty critical of the Israeli government anytime he covers the ongoing, war in the past between the Israelis and Palestinians. And in this case, as you heard him say, he's been pretty critical of the genocide taking place in Gaza. And now, thanks to Benjamin Netanyahu's eldest son, we've learned that Rogan allegedly refused to have Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on his podcast to essentially spew his lies and propaganda. And if this story is confirmed to be true, I commend Joe Rogan for having moral clarity on this. Now, Fox News posted a headline on X reading that Joe Rogan claims Hunter Biden could be president, insists he's more intelligent than most people think. And in response to that, Netanyahu's son, Yair Netanyahu, wrote this. Great wake-up call for conservatives to remember Joe Rogan is not a conservative. He gave platform to every single neo-Nazi anti-Semite on this plant. I guess he meant planet. But he refused to have my father on his show because he knows that he doesn't stand a chance against him. And all those years of anti-Semitic propaganda will go to waste. Is that why Netanyahu refuses interviews with people who actually know what they're talking about and instead insists on going on shows like the one hosted by the 30-year-olds who like to call themselves the Nelk Boys?
That's the name of the podcast. So congrats.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It's not that hard to be consistently accurate and correct on your assessment of Israel if you have eyes. No,
right.
It's pretty apparent that it's a Holocaust, and I think that is the term that everyone should continue to use in describing this scenario for many reasons. But it is a Holocaust that the Israeli people are committing on the Gazans, a Holocaust. Probably the worst Holocaust we've ever seen.
And you were worried about saying the N-word?
I kid. The Holocaust that people know in history was terrible. But this is also terrible, and I think that needs to be said, that this is terrible. And no past thing that ever happened to a group of people can justify what is happening today to this group of people. So, it's a
Yeah, but have you heard about the Holodomor?
I have just this week. I think it was in the chat or somebody brought up the Holodomor, whatever it was. What is that?
I actually saw it referenced on I believe a Channel 4 production where some bloke from the UK went to an all-white community in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah, the Reclaim the Land or the Return to the Land.
Yeah, Reclaim
movement.
the Land, yeah.
I saw this too. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's self-ghettoization.
Yeah.
I understand the sentiment. I mean, why do you think I left Denver, Colorado?
To get away from minorities?
No, didn't achieve that. But to basically have more space, which I think is the underlying heart of that movement, is we've got more space. We can make this what we want it to be. We can better master the space around us. Which I sympathize with that sentiment. But I think you still need to be able to be active and make change in the existing American culture. And I don't know how you do that if you've cut yourself off.
No, I kind of agree with that. I don't have a problem if people want to go and free associate with whoever they want to in the land around people. But the criticism you receive is fair game, and of course you're going to get attacked for being racist because you are racist. But at the end of the day, I do like levels of diversity in my life. I don't have a problem with individuals at all, right? It's the group identity. It's the same to me. They're doing the same thing that they're running away from. You know what I mean? These people are great. This group is raised up in society to be holier than thou, versus that group, and it's just more of that. It's playing the same game that's being played on a global scale. So I'm not for it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it is an embrace of victimhood ideology on a certain level.
Yep.
Things are so bad for us that we have to run away.
But that report was weird because they kept highlighting that the community has these bonfires every night, and
Yeah.
the intent was to create the image of the Ku Klux Klan and the burning cross ceremony. They tried so hard to say their bonfires were symbolic of the burning cross ceremony.
And then the guy breaks out a German flute.
And starts playing it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I would be weirded out at that group around that campfire. I'm sure I'd hear some interesting things, some things I'd agree with. But for the most part, what I saw was just a collection of ideologues. Engaging in victimhood. I think you nailed it with that.
Well, the guy who the Holodomor meme comes from, where every time the reporter asks him, was the Holocaust a bad thing? And he goes, well, have you heard of the Holodomor? I mean, every time.
Yep.
That's what his answer was. He started a vegan cult in Ecuador. I think it was Ecuador. And I think stabbed some guy and is basically on the run from Ecuador and now moves to America and starts this far-right racist thing.
I didn't think he was the founder of the far-right
He's a
thing.
co-founder, definitely. Now, the spokesman is the blonde-haired...
blue-eyed guy with the German flute.
Blue-eyed, yeah. Yeah, German flute.
The Pied Groiper.
Pied Griper. That's so good.
Oh. Man. Yeah, I saw that. I'm glad you brought that up. Well, as soon as you said the Holodomor thing, I was like, oh my gosh. I did hear that. Where did I hear that? And it was the return to the land. This has been the reason I don't think a lot of people kind of center and right have heard about this, but this has been a left-wing MSNBC boomer meme for a couple of weeks now, this return to the land thing. I have a coworker that oftentimes fills me in on TDS, other coworker that I have, and what they post on Facebook. And they brought up this return to the land. That's how I heard about it. And that's why I looked into it and I saw this video, saw the report. But then I looked into kind of Blue Sky and that. And yeah, it's a big meme there. People talking about they're going to open up a faction in Missouri. And then everyone's like, people in Missouri are like, this is why I hate Missouri. I hate the whole state because 10 people want to start a whites-only commune.
Yeah. I mean, if this gets any kind of reaction out of you, you probably should take a break from the internet. Because it's like, I wondered why Channel 4 was there. Which, of course, I know why they're there. They're there to get reaction.
Of course they are. And the guy straight up was like, do you think what we're doing is terrible and abhorrent? I was like, yes, I do. It's incredibly racist. And they do the same media format. They're like, look at this racist group. Let's go interview a black woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same media tricks at the same time. I don't know. That's funny. I'm glad you brought that up because I did see that and I had forgotten completely about it. But yeah, they're effectively racist communists, segregationists, I guess would be that live in a commune.
Yeah. But to your point, I don't care what they do.
I really don't care either.
Anyone else should care either. And what's the Attorney General of Arkansas going to do? Are we going to have another Waco? Are they going to roll some black mammy out and say, you've got to let her live with you or we're going to roll a tank through your village?
Right. I don't even understand. If they own all the land, basically, and they have the shares, they're doing it through like the share system where it's legal because technically what they're doing is illegal, but they've done it in a way where you buy shares and shares equate to land. And so you buy shares in it. That way it's a private company and they can deny people from buying shares in it, which equates to actual square footage of land. I don't know. I don't know why it's such a big deal that people want to throw it up on the news or say racist people exist, everywhere, all races, bad people on both sides. But it's just one of those things that you need to have a culture war. You need to have the culture war that Millennial Bookkeeper is not here for and not voting for.
Yes.
It's all part of the whole, we got to create this constant need of Trump's America being terrible and awful and fascist and racist. And
of course,
all part of the same playbook.
Well, even the black lady in Arkansas in the report said, I think it's due to the president. Yep. And then they immediately showed a graphic that refuted that point, even though they said, and the data back her assertion up. Well, they said, white, basically race-related activity had gone up. I don't remember exactly what the data point was, but the thing they posited was that you had an increase in basically white pride, and it started during Biden's administration.
I saw that too, and it was like almost like this. It was the general vibe that they were talking about that kicked it off. It was like a 9-minute long video, wasn't it? I'm trying.
Yeah.
I want to find that infographic because I thought that too.
If not longer.
When I saw that it was effectively during Biden's admin that all of these things are spiking, and then like that's almost as if their point was to say, well, you see, Trump kicked off the racism. He lost in 2020, but because of all these additional hate crimes, they continue.
Mm-hmm. You got the video pulled up yet?
I have to go to actual YouTube.
That's fine. I mean, I'm ready to move on to New York City whenever you are. Go to the opposite side of the spectrum.
Do you have coverage on it? Because I only have like one clip, and it's just to say
I've got a clip from NBC, and it's from today.
Okay, perfect. Let's play yours.
Okay.
Where is it?
New York gunman.
Oh, I didn't actually bring any clips. This is your clip. I downloaded it and then I deleted it because I didn't really know enough about it. But okay, here we go.
We are also learning more about those victims. Among the dead, an NYPD officer, a Blackstone executive, a security guard, a 27-year-old woman. Another man who is 41 years old is in critical but stable condition.
MSNBC investigative correspondent Mark Santilla joins us now from the scene. Mark, we are now hearing the gunman was an employee at a Las Vegas casino. What more have you learned about him and his motive?
Yeah, we've learned the 27-year-old gunman was a surveillance department employee at the Horseshoe Casino in Las Vegas. Officials tell us the NYPD has been able to retrace his movements before the shooting. The 27-year-old drove his BMW from Las Vegas, Nevada to New York City. Last night, he double parked his car right here on Park Avenue around 6:30 last night in the middle of the bustling Midtown. He walked into the building and immediately opened fire. He is believed, we're told, to have fired more than 50 times in the lobby as well as on the 33rd floor. Investigators found a handwritten 3-page note in the gunman's wallet. We have seen that note. The gunman expressed anger, alleging that his mental illness may have been linked to having played football earlier in his life while in high school. Investigators now believe he chose this location because the NFL is headquartered here at this building. After shooting 5 people, killing 4, and seriously injuring another person, the gunman shot himself in the chest, taking his own life. Now, those notes, the 3-page note, the note was recovered by investigators. Investigators say the gunman asked that his brain be studied because he believed he may have suffered a brain injury due to head trauma from playing football, again, back in high school. One quote said, quote, "Please study brain for CTE." When we examined those notes, he also included his computer password. Investigators and law enforcement sources believe he wants investigators to take a deeper look into his past. And that right now is the scene here. Police do believe he acted alone.
Yeah, half black, half Japanese guy. Real weird.
Blackanese.
Blackanese. The whole thing is weird. Was weird. Weird all around. People were trying to say he purposely picked blacks down. I saw a report. If you've ever been in like a huge building or like a hotel that has multiple towers, it's really easy to take the wrong elevator into the wrong tower. And it's kind of seeming like that's what he did here. Where he meant to go to the NFL, but he went to this Blackstone investment group. And from what I can tell, he only shot one person up there. So he shot most of the people in the lobby, 4 people in the lobby.
Yeah, we don't know who that person was either, and it wasn't even a Blackstone floor, the 33rd.
Okay. So yeah, so that was that story. Real weird. We'll see if anything more comes out of it. It just seems like a weird guy, a guy that maybe had CTE, maybe he thought his whole life was ruined.
It seems
by
like he might have.
Yeah. Not the best at reasoning. Although he did know enough to shoot himself in the chest so his brain could be studied.
Yes, and I have to wonder if he didn't use the 33rd floor as a way to get people's attention, knowing how people on the internet are.
It's the magic number. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or did you want me to say, yes, 33, magic number. Please study brain.
Yes, I did want that.
Okay.
Our live stream's going bonanzas right now.
Over what they think is going on with this guy?
No, I mean our connection to the Icecast server.
Getting flaky.
It's not flaky. It's full on shot in the chest with the AR-15.
Please study brain.
Please study brain. We're back. There we go. Yeah, serious drop there. Okay. New York City. What else you got?
I got more from New York City. A glitch and a scam all rolled into one. But this is my last. This is it for me.
All right, then I've got some fun TikToks we can play us out.
Okay. Love a good TikTok.
Right. Scam glitch.
2025 is turning out to be the summer of scams, if you will. Now one group of fraudsters has taken New York City for over $17 million in just a matter of days. News Nation's Marcus Espinoza is in New York City with all the details. You know, Marcus, how in the world does the nation's largest city lose so much money so quickly?
Marky, good morning. Yeah, this scam takes the cake, and it's all because of a glitch in a debit card system, the ones we all use, right? Going to ATMs just like this here, somebody was able to siphon millions of dollars to the tune of 17 million. So again, a classic ATM just like this ended up causing all of this distress here. So there's a lot to get into because of this. But basically, the New York Times, who broke this story here, said that the scheme targeted the nearly 100,000 teens and young adults participating in the New York City Summer Youth Employment Program. According to the city's official website, this historically successful summer program helps New Yorkers aged 14 to 24 with financial literacy, connecting them with jobs, right? But due to that glitch that I mentioned, the DashPay debit card connected to the summer workers' bi-weekly paychecks allowed ATM users to withdraw an unlimited amount of cash regardless of what was in their account balance. According to city officials here, this viral trend motivated workers to sell their cards, allowing scammers to drain their accounts, sinking some of them into thousands of dollars worth of debt. The New York Times reveals it ended up costing $17 million in 3 days. Again, we reached out to the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, who tells us they are, quote, deeply disturbed by scammers preying on participants. The department says it quickly launched an investigation with the vendors who oversee the SYEP pay card system to make sure our participants' earnings are as secure as possible.
Someone's scamming from the Youth Employment Fund, huh?
Yes. Do you understand what exactly is going on here?
I think so. So I imagine that kids are getting paid something for some reason. Do they have jobs with the city, or are they just like...
I don't know if I'd go as far to say jobs, but yeah, they're getting
just
paid
payments?
by the city.
Okay. And so I almost wonder if it's like the COVID meals thing. Remember the COVID meals where people were supplying meals to schools, only the meals weren't getting bought by the PPE loans, and these people were going to like Puerto Rico on vacation and buying cars instead. That's kind of what it sounds like. There's all these fake kids that are registered, Kwame and Mitchell, Gary Smith. They don't exist, but they're still getting paid their $200 a week salary.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that the scam?
I don't think that's exactly what's happening here. I think these are actually real kids in this program. I say kids, it goes up to 24. But let's hear the explainer and hear just how sophisticated this was.
The question you might be having is, how in the world are folks able to take out that much money? Aren't there limits on this sort of thing? Well, there weren't daily limits on this particular card. This is what would happen. Somebody would walk up to it, they'd put the card in, right? And they would sit here, Marky, for hours, just withdraw after withdrawal after withdrawal, $200 at a time. One particular ATM, $41,000 taken out of that ATM by presumably one person standing there for hours on end, nobody noticing that this was going on. Again, over the 3-day total, $17 million taken out of ATMs like this throughout the city here. We still don't know exact locations of where this took place, if people in the program, any young folks or young adults actually participated, or if folks were taken advantage of by selling their cards and other folks hitting up that glitch and just taking out as much money as possible. But there's a lot of questions, more questions than answers right now. But this is a remarkable story. And we're definitely going to get to the bottom of it right now, because we do not have all those answers.
This is crazy, Marcus.
It's not that crazy. Here's what happened. Some kid figured out that they could take out as much money as possible, $200 at a time. And then a TikTok or a group text went out, and it's like a pyramid scheme. Then everyone else is like, holy shit, I better let my other friends know about this. And before you know it, you got 400 people that are doing it, and that you can easily rack up $17 million in 3 days with 400 people doing this at an ATM.
Yeah.
I can imagine. The kids weren't taking advantage of. The kids were doing it. That's who did it.
Yeah,
It was the kids.
Exactly what it was.
Yeah. Wow, that's funny. Well, I mean, it's funny. It's funny all around. No, there's not even a qualifier there. That's funny.
Yeah.
Eat it, New York. There you go. Okay. Oh, good. TikToks. Here we go. How do you reduce violence against women in this country, John?
Ooh, what a wide range of possibilities. I think I don't know, put all men in prison?
Close, but not all men, just a specific group of men. Here you go. Here's a TikTok for you.
Unpopular opinion, but if we took all MAGA men from ages 18 to 50 and replaced them with immigrants, violence against women and children would decrease to almost 0%.
I don't think so.
That's what she said. All MAGA men, 18 to 50, replace them. You're 17-year-old MAGA or you're 51, you can stay. You're not doing violence on women. But
once you turn 18,
you're gone.
Then you got to go.
You're gone. You're going to get deported to Mexico, and they're not even going to want you. They're going to say, you're raising our rents too high. Get out of here.
Learn Spanish.
Learn Spanish or die. All right, so I thought that one was weird. But then Sydney Sweeney, or she's the...
Oh, yes.
The one with the cans.
You're bringing this up. Yeah, the one with the cans. You're bringing this up, so I assume you've seen all of the discussion around this ad.
I've seen a lot of the discussion. I thought I pulled this one. There's no shortage of TikTok clips of women discussing this point about Sydney Sweeney and her American Eagle ad. But this one's good because it includes the ad, and then a woman explains what's happening. She takes away the signs and signals. And
would you say she femsplains it?
She femsplains the dog whistle here. So here you go. A TikTok of Sydney Sweeney's new controversial American Eagle ad.
Did American Eagle just run an ad for eugenics?
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has her genes.
Totally just talking about denim, right? Just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman explaining how her good genes gave her personality and purity. I mean, are we really going to pretend that this isn't a little fashy-coded? Look, I'm not saying that Sydney Sweeney personally wrote this ad to revive the Third Reich, but American Eagle absolutely knew what they were doing here. You don't get to drop lines about inherited traits, blue eyes, and great genes while zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster and expect people not to catch that reference. Good genes used to mean racial purity in fascist circles, and now it's just denim marketing. We are watching fascist aesthetics sneak back into pop culture through fashion ads, tradwife influencers, and yes, now blue jeans. If you think this was an innocent ad, you have not been paying attention.
Yes, now get against the wall.
That's right. I mean, she might have a point if it was Hugo Boss, who famously designed the Nazi and the SS's uniform. But American Eagle, come on. That's a little nuts, lady.
Yeah.
But again, there's no shortage of that. There's no shortage.
Very interesting. Now face the wall.
That's right. Get out of here. Instead of the immigrants replacing MAGA men, the MAGA men are going to replace everyone with Aryans and return to the land.
Culture war. The
racism, it's heating up, man. Cincinnati, the outrage surrounding it.
That is wild.
Yeah.
See, something like that happening in Cincinnati is why you have people realizing that in other parts of the world, the neighborhood that the attackers came from would be burned to the ground.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But, how dare I make an assumption because that video only shows one side of what happened.
I live in a city that was, well, I don't live in the part that was, but part of it was burned to the ground when an event like this happened. So, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, it's all part of the culture war. It works both ways. You know, that video has been elevated to, why is there zero media coverage of it? Which is a fair question. Why was that not covered by the media? And people know the answers or think they know the answer, but still, it's one of those things. The culture war is upon us.
It's been upon us.
It felt like it took a hiatus. Like there really hasn't been this huge call of Trump's a racist that resonates nationally, that they're saying it on CNN. There needs to be a Charlottesville again in order for that to take root.
Yeah, return to the land.
Someone needs to die. You need a death. We'll see. Well, we won't be returning to the land. We will be returning to the LAN, local area network, and broadcasting to you next Tuesday. And the Tuesday after that, and the Tuesday after that. I think. That's my plan, at least. We'll stay on the offensive.
Mine too.
Good. Happy to have you. But from St. Louis, Missouri, I have been Dan Gehring.
And from America's South Coast with blonde hair and blue eyes, I'm sorry. I'm John G. Dew.
John G. Dew wearing those American Eagle jeans, looking good. He's got great jeans, y'all. Just kidding. But until next time, make sure you keep one in the chamber. Keep your slide well lubed. You got to defend those jeans somehow. And fight for your right to BBL. MMO. Out. All righty. Oops. I just deleted all of the audio. Thank God for Control Z. Okay. I don't know if title list is working. Mr. Feeney has been treating that like it doesn't exist. So we'll see. Oh, it did work. Thank the Lord. All right. You ready for some titles?
Oh, yeah.
BB Smells. BBLs and trucker hats. Slavic baseball. Oh, yeah, Slavic baseball. Well, we come up with some good ones. E-balls. Global War Party. On the Titty. N-word hands. Milk Boys. The worst Holocaust we've ever seen. Engaging in victimhood. Please study brain. Femsplain. Fasci-coded. Returning to the LAN.
I feel like there were some better ones than that.
Maybe. What was the one that I said I like as a title? Like I said it out loud. I should have added it. Would have been around 7:45, 44. Around the 2-hour mark. Oh, dark conspiracy.
Dark forces. Hey, dark forces. Global war party.
Believe that the Georgia Tea.
The Black Sea, But yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting.
Dang, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're trying to think of, and I'll have it in just a second.
Yeah.
Something of hate.
Oh, Laboratory of Hate.
Laboratory of Hate. I think that's our title.
That's got to be it. Yeah, D-Paste is the worst of the copy, but for some reason, all of the other paste services aren't working for me. Laboratory. I like it when you say laboratory as opposed to laboratory. DD, get out of my laboratory. Is that Dexter's Lab or something?
Yeah, Dexter's Lab. One of my favorites as a child.
DD. It is not real. You can't see air and it's real. I remember that his dumb sister always like besting him with logic all the time. That's so funny. Okay. Laboratory of Hate.
Flag being flown. I can hardly hear the recording. Now it all makes sense as to what that is, why it's important, why you should pay attention to details.
The West is gay. There's one. The West is gay.
Maybe Donald Trump goes into an.
That was your leg out right there.
Very good chance they were going to mention Cambodia. Now that could have just been something. It was the 90s. But I wonder if there's still a major missionary focusing in Cambodia.
You hear that ping out?
No, not really. I told you the recording's pretty low for me. Very good chance they were going to mention Cambodia. Now that could have just been something. It was the 90s. But I wonder if there's still a major missionary focusing in Cambodia.
Right there.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell what I'm meaning.
Yeah. It didn't happen that often. The only thing that I marked down is the West is gay.
And now
the West is gay.
Marker. I'm kind of popping out. I don't know what to call it. I'm getting fuzzy.
Yeah, you're
clipping.
No bother. Can fix that in post.
Get it on.
It must. What did you do? The West is gay. It's late.
Sure.
And
I
I don't have
feel like that's all you got.
Yep. Alrighty. Laboratory of Hate. I saw we got an email from Chuck, a.k.a. Wolf. The West is gay.
It must be quite apparent